Chapter 1581. As for Yun Luofeng and Huang Yingying, the beautiful lady scoffed. She only wanted men. As a woman, she could not escape death. Furthermore, she would never allow any woman to lay a finger on her man. Yes, your highness. In an instant, many leopard clan guards surrounded Yun Luofeng and the others. The javelins in their hands were aimed at their bodies. Yin Shao pulled Yun Luofeng into his arms with his large hand. His cold gaze swept across the leopard clan guards surrounding them. A cold light flashed across his eyes, and a murderous aura spread out, covering the entire street. Bang! Bang, bang, bang. No one saw how Yin Shao made his move. The front row of leopard clan guards suddenly emitted the sound of an explosion. Then a mist of blood filled the air, and the smell of blood filled their noses. The leopard princess's face darkened, and she snorted coldly. Foolish humans. In the leopard clan's territory, all you need to do is obey us. You even dared to kill my leopard clan guards. If it wasn't for your good looks, I would have dismembered you long ago. Big sister. Just at this moment, a cold voice rang out from behind. You're snatching human men again. Yin Shao had just raised his hand, and a strong spiritual energy gradually formed in his hand. However, before he could make a move against the leopard clan princess, a lily-white hand suddenly landed on his hand and held it tightly. Yin Shao, don't make a move. Let's wait and see. The beast continent was very powerful. Otherwise, they would not have been unable to subdue it even after a few continents joined forces. Yun Luofeng did not know how powerful Yin Shao was. Hence, she asked Yin Shao to stop for now and wait and see. It would not be too late to make a move then. She was not a person who was willing to suffer losses. She would not act impulsively unless she had absolute confidence. Why are you here? The leopard clan princess turned to look at the young girl behind her. A look of disgust flashed across her eyes. This young girl bore some resemblance to the leopard clan princess. Unfortunately, there was a scar on her originally beautiful face, ruining her beauty. In the beast continent, which was famous for its beauties, she was indeed an oddity. Big sister, feelings are supposed to be mutual. Why do you always try to seize him by force? The young girl frowned as she questioned. The leopard clan princess snorted coldly. As long as this princess takes a fancy to someone, I won't let them off. Inli, I advise you to mind your own business. Otherwise, I won't be as easy to talk to as last time. Ely smiled disapprovingly. What if I insist on poking my nose into this matter? Then don't blame me for being rude. In the Panther clan, even though the eldest princess was the most beautiful and was doted on by the Panther king, the one with the greatest talent was still the little princess. Although the little princess was young, her strength was already on par with the first princess. Given time, she would be able to surpass her. Unfortunately, the little princess had lost her beauty many years ago. Otherwise, the little princess would definitely be the most popular woman in the Beast City. The eldest princess gritted her teeth in anger. Ely, I've already given you the man you fancied. If you try to snatch him from me again, don't blame me for complaining to my imperial father. Ely smiled and ignored the eldest princess. She slowly walked towards Yun Luofeng with a courteous and friendly smile on her face. Miss Yun, since you've come to our Beast City, you're our guest. I won't allow anyone to treat you rudely. Chapter 1582. Yun Luofeng frowned. This Panther princess knew who she was? Yun Luofeng grew wary at the thought. Yun Shao, who was next to him, shielded her in her arms and stared coldly at the young girl. Miss Yun, you don't have to be so nervous. I've heard about you from Huli. Huli? Yun Luofeng and Yun Shao looked at each other, then at Ely. You know Huli? Huli, Ely lowered her head shyly, is my husband. Yun Luofeng froze on the spot like thunder. Huli had been missing for so long. Had he come to the Beast Clan to become the Emperor's son-in-law? Could it be that the man the two Panther princesses were fighting over was Huli? My husband guessed that Miss Yin would come to the Beast Continent. He drew a portrait of you and asked me to pay attention to you. So, when I saw you just now, I couldn't help but step forward. Compared to the barbaric Panther princess, this little princess's words were very comforting. Yin Luofeng paused, then said, I want to see Hu Li. All right, Miss Yin, please follow me. Ili bowed to Yin Luofeng with the Beast Clan's etiquette, then turned and walked towards the palace. When she arrived in front of the eldest princess, she stopped in her tracks, and her lips curled into a slight smile. Eldest sister, these people are my guests. I hope you can be more courteous. Otherwise, don't blame me for not considering our kinship. The princess trembled with anger. She clenched her fists tightly and glared at Ili angrily. This damned, stinky girl, she was really making enemies with her in every way. Hu Li was one thing, but this man was so outstanding. She would never let him go. Suddenly, the princess felt a sharp pain on her face. It was so painful that she screamed. She held her cheek tightly, feeling the pain. Princess. The guard quickly walked to the princess's side. After seeing her current appearance, he was clearly shocked. What are you waiting for? Look at my face. What's wrong? Why does it hurt so much? Seeing the princess's angry expression, one of the female guards hesitated for a moment, then took out a mirror from her lapel. The princess did not have time to ask why the female guard would carry a mirror with her, because at that moment, she had already seen the person in the mirror. When she saw the rash on her face, she screamed, rolled her eyes, and fainted. Yin Luofeng and the others acted as if they did not notice the commotion behind them. Only Yin Xiao was looking at Yin Luofeng with a pair of smiling eyes. Others might not have noticed, but it was impossible for him not to see Yin Luofeng's movements. His wife really didn't know how to take a loss. The leopard princess was most proud of her looks, so she decided to destroy it. But he loved her deeply, didn't he? We're here. This is the palace of our panther race. Ili stopped in her tracks and turned to Yin Luofeng and the others with a faint smile. Yin Xiao, before entering the palace. Yin Luofeng frowned slightly and spoke in a voice that only the two of them could hear. I don't know if this Ili is trustworthy, but I had no choice but to come here. Therefore, we must be on high alert to prevent any accidents from happening. After all, she'd only just met Ili, so how could she possibly trust her? In order to find Hu Li and Wu, she was willing to take the risk. Chapter 1583. No one can hurt you. Yin Xiao paused before replying seriously. If the Panther clan wants to hurt you, then there's no need for the Panther clan to exist. Yin Luofeng's lips curled into a smile. She paid no heed to Yin Xiao's words as she walked through the magnificent palace gates, keeping her guard up at all times. Fortunately, nothing happened along the way. They walked into the back garden without any obstructions. It was at this moment that the man sitting in the pavilion suddenly fell into her eyes, Yin Luofeng. Hu Li also saw Yin Luofeng, and a look of joy flashed across his eyes. His figure quickly streaked across the sky and landed in front of her. You're here. Yin Luofeng glanced behind Hu Li, but did not see that small figure. She frowned and asked, Where's Wu? This little boy, whom she called Wu Yi, was the one she had picked up on the road and had asked Hu Li to look after. Hu Li froze and lowered his head guiltily. I'm sorry, I lost him. Lost him? Yin Luofeng raised his brows and asked. Hu Li laughed bitterly. I found out that Hong Wan had come to the Beast Continent, so I brought Wu Yi to this place. Who knew that we would encounter danger in the desert, and I lost her. It's all right. If that fellow really harbors ill intentions, he will appear again. Yin Luofeng shrugged and said with a faint smile, Hu Li, can you tell me how you became the Panther clan's son-in-law? Hu Li coughed dryly and looked a little embarrassed. When I entered the Beast City, I was harassed by the Panther clan's eldest princess. In order to help me, Princess Ili pretended to like me. Otherwise, he would probably have become a member of the Panther clan's eldest princess harem. Thinking of this, Hu Li could not help but shudder. His entire body felt disgusted. However, Princess Ili promised to help me look for Wu Yi and even help me keep an eye on your whereabouts. That's why I stayed. How did you know that I would definitely come to the Beast City? Yin Luofeng stroked his chin and continued to ask. Hu Li winked at her seductively. Based on your personality, if Hong Wan's whereabouts were unknown, would you not appear? Boom. Unexpectedly, Li had just finished speaking when a powerful aura suddenly came crashing down. His body was instantly thrown out, and he fell to the ground in a sorry state with a bang. Yin Xiao tore off his sleeve and furrowed his brows as he wiped her eyes. Yin Xiao, what are you doing? Yin Luofeng took a few steps back and asked. He was making eyes at you. And then, I'm afraid that I'll stain your eyes. When Yin Luofeng raised her head, she saw Yun Zhao's serious expression. The corners of her mouth couldn't help but twitch. At this moment, the sound of footsteps could be heard. The one in the lead was a dignified middle-aged man. He was wild and resolute, and his face was handsome. Set off by the group of guards, he seemed to have the demeanor of a king. Father. Eli's expression changed slightly as she respectfully lowered her head and called out. Eli, did you steal your sister's man again? The middle-aged man's tone was cold as he spoke indifferently. Father, these people are my husband's friends. The middle-aged man scoffed coldly and glanced at Hu Li in disgust. For the sake of a man, you made an enemy of your sister time and time again. Is it really worth it? Hu Li, who had been called out by the Panther King, leisurely found a stone stool and sat down. A straw hung from the corner of his mouth, making him look like a ruffian. His seductive almond-shaped eyes carried a disapproving smile. Chapter 1584. His disrespect towards him made the Panther King even more furious. Look, this is the human man you've taken a fancy to? He has no manners at all. It's very obvious that his friends lack manners as well. They didn't even kneel when they saw me. The Panther King's gaze swept towards Yun Luofeng and Yun Xiao, his eyes filled with coldness. Yun Zhao's gaze, which was originally on Yun Luofeng, finally slowly lifted, and his cold gaze landed on the Panther King. His black robes fluttered despite the lack of wind. He gradually stretched out his hand, and a powerful spiritual energy gathered in his palm. Father, Ili gritted her teeth. Elder sister, you're snatching a man in front of everyone. Isn't that even worse? Slap. The Panther King raised his hand angrily and slapped Ili across the face. Towards this disappointing daughter of his, he was so angry that his entire body trembled. Who allowed you to disrespect your elders like this? Do you really think that I won't punish you? If this daughter's face had not been disfigured, his heart would definitely be biased towards his younger daughter. Unfortunately, his younger daughter's face had been disfigured. In the Beast Continent, which was famous for its beauty, she was destined to be ridiculed. Boom, 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 boom. Suddenly, the Panther King felt the entire ground beneath his feet shake. He turned pale with fright and hurriedly looked towards the source of the energy and the wild wind. The man was like a cold god of death. It was as if he had stepped through hell, and the murderous aura emanating from his body made everyone tremble in fear. A powerful energy was emitted from his body. Under this energy, the surrounding buildings were swept into the sky, covering the entire blue sky. Then, in front of everyone's eyes, it came crashing down with a loud bang. As the Panther King was facing the epicenter of the energy, he was knocked unconscious on the spot. The guards hurriedly regained their senses and rushed towards the Panther King. The king has fainted. Quickly save the king. At this moment, no one cared about Yin Xiao and the others. Even the king had been knocked unconscious in one move. How could they, the guards, deal with such a terrifying man? Eli's mouth opened wide in shock, as if she had never expected Hu Li's friend to be so powerful. Soon after, she was a little worried. Hu Li, although your friend is powerful, all the races of the beast race are linked together. Once one race is defeated by the humans, the other races will attack the humans together. She paused and said, Do you know why our beast city is the closest to the northern continent? That's because our beast city is the weakest and the other races are all stronger than us, especially the mysterious Dragon Clan and Phoenix Clan. They are both clans that stand above the other major clans. This was what worried Yairi the most. You're tired. Yin Xiao turned to Yun Luofeng. What he said was not a question, but a statement. So, I'll send you to rest. All right. Yin Luofeng smiled. With Yun Xiao by her side, she felt very at ease. Hu Li, are you going to leave? Ili watched as Yun Luofeng, Yun Xiao, and the others disappeared into the distance. She pursed her lips slightly, and her tone was filled with reluctance. Huli didn't notice her strangeness. After pondering for a while, she said, "It should be. Actually, I can help you find the person you're looking for. As long as he could stay for a period of time." Huli paused. "I've troubled you for long enough. I can't trouble you any longer. After Yin Luo phone, I'll leave with them and look for Hong Wan." Huli sighed. She also understood that she couldn't make him stay. Chapter 1585. The Phoenix Clan. The cries of a flaming phoenix rang out from the top of the volcano and echoed throughout the entire mountain peak. An old man who had been sitting cross-legged in the mountain suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with joy as he said, "Is the master back?" A few years ago, the Phoenix Clan had faced a great crisis. That crisis had caused countless cultivators in the Phoenix Clan to turn into ashes. It was also at that time that a godlike black-robed man had appeared out of thin air and helped the Phoenix Clan resolve the crisis. From then on, they had worshipped this man as the master of the Phoenix Clan. Unfortunately, after that incident, the man had disappeared once again and had never appeared again. Unexpectedly, the fire phoenix that the Phoenix Clan had sent to search for the man had sent news that the man had appeared. This news was so shocking that the entire Phoenix Clan was in an uproar. At the same time, a white-haired man was sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed in front of the Dragon Clan's altar. Even though the man was handsome, he could not hide the vicissitudes of life on his face. Suddenly, the man opened his eyes, and a sense of joy appeared in his murky eyes. "Someone, quickly gather all the elders of the Dragon Clan. I have an important order." "Yes, my king." A figure appeared in front of the white-haired man, and soon disappeared without a trace. The man rose from the mat and placed his hand behind his back as he hurried towards the clan hall. The elders were already waiting quietly in the clan hall. When they saw the white-haired man rushing over, they quickly rose to their feet and asked respectfully, "May I know what orders my king has summoned us for?" The white-haired man strode up to the throne and looked around him with a cold and stern expression. "I have summoned all of you here to announce something." He paused before he continued. "The ancestor of the Dragon Clan has returned." "Ancestor?" The crowd turned pale with fright. Some of them even stood up in shock and could not conceal the excitement on their faces. "My king, is this true? Has our ancestor really returned?" "That's right." The white-haired man nodded. "Thousands of years ago, our ancestor provoked a peerless powerhouse. He claimed that he needed to leave the Dragon Clan and lure that peerless powerhouse away to ensure the safety of the Dragon Clan." At the mention of the past, the white-haired man could not help but feel a little sad. Unfortunately, Ancestor guessed wrongly. That peerless expert did not chase after Ancestor and instead destroyed the Dragon Clan into pieces. However, Ancestor's selfless spirit still needs us to learn. "King, you should tell us where our ancestor is so that we can welcome him back." "Actually, I don't know his exact location. After all, my divine sense isn't strong enough, and I can only spread it across the entire Beast Continent. If my ancestor is outside of the Beast Continent, I won't be able to find him. But just now, a strand of my divine sense sensed my ancestor's presence. He's back." The white-haired man became even more emotional, and his eyes were filled with tears. "King, in the current Dragon Clan, only you have seen our ancestor. We don't even know what he looks like. How are we supposed to find him?" One of the elders raised a question. Indeed, in order to find the Dragon Clan's ancestor, the white-haired man had reached the end of his lifespan. Spiritual beasts may have a long lifespan, and even the weakest humans can live for up to 1,000 years. However, no matter how long a lifespan is, it does not mean that it will never run out. Unless one's power has reached the pinnacle, otherwise, any life will eventually run out of energy. Chapter 1586. Hence, even though the white-haired man had maintained his youthful appearance and body, he had only overdrawn his lifespan in order to subdue the Dragon Clan. In reality, he could no longer step out of the Dragon Clan. Hence, he could only rely on the elders to search for the Dragon Clan's ancestor. I have considered this matter before. Hence, I have specially drawn a portrait of the Dragon Clan's ancestor. Follow the portrait and you will find him." The white-haired man smiled mysteriously. He then took out a scroll from his sleeve and placed it on the table. The scroll slowly unfurled. At that moment, the portrait of the Dragon Clan's ancestor fell into the eyes of all the elders. Ah, how should they put it? The Dragon Clan's ancestor's appearance was a little unexpected. On the scroll was a small, emerald green worm. Its entire body was transparent, and its large, round eyes were very adorable. If they had not known its identity, perhaps everyone would have thought that it was a harmless worm. "King!" The elders raised their heads in unison and stared at the white-haired man in astonishment. "Are you sure that this is the Dragon Clan's ancestor?" "I don't think so. Not only doesn't he look like the Dragon Clan's ancestor, he clearly doesn't even look like a dragon. This little thing actually has the power to control a member of the Dragon Clan." Back then, when the Dragon Clan's ancestor was still around, I was still very young, but I have seen him from afar. He is indeed the Dragon Clan's ancestor. Furthermore, his power is so great. The white-haired man's eyes were filled with worship and reverence. His expression was as if he was worshiping his own god. Wasn't that right? In the eyes of the Dragon Clan's ancestor was their god. He was also a selfless god. "King!" The elders saw the white-haired man's expression and accepted the scroll. They then replied respectfully, "Don't worry, King. We will definitely find the Dragon Clan's ancestor and bring him back. I am very relieved to leave this matter to you. When the Dragon Clan's ancestor returns, I can rest in peace." The white-haired man smiled and replied calmly. Beast City. In the guest room, Yin Luofeng was leaning on Yun Zhao's shoulder as he played with Little Worm. Little Worm was furious but did not dare to speak up. It could only sullenly allow Yin Luofeng to play with it. If it had not made a pact with Yin Zhao in order to leave that godforsaken place, it would not be in such a miserable state. "Yin Zhao, where did this little worm come from? Why are you at Sangsha Mountain?" Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows slightly and asked with a smile. Yin Zhao's gaze turned towards Little Worm, his face expressionless. He did not say anything, but he had already used his eyes to express what he wanted to express. Little Worm felt very wronged. He did not dare to resist and could only answer honestly, "Back then, I accidentally provoked a god-level expert." "A god-level expert?" Yin Luofeng was startled. Did gods really exist on this continent? That divine-level expert's strength was too terrifying, so I fled. Of course, how could I tell others that I was fleeing for my life? So, I told my clansmen that I had provoked a peerless expert. In order to not bring disaster to the clan, I was responsible for luring that peerless expert away. When it said this, Little Worm's face was full of pride, as if it was proud of its intelligence. That godly expert couldn't find me, so he destroyed my territory. Actually, I already knew that godly expert's personality. At most, he would destroy some buildings and wouldn't harm my clansmen. That's why I was able to escape with my mind at ease. Chapter 1587. Little Worm held its head high. It did not feel that its actions were undignified at all. From its point of view, letting others know that it was being chased by someone on the run would be the most degrading thing. "How did you offend that god-level expert?" Yun Luofeng's eyes were filled with amusement. The corners of Little Worm's mouth froze, and its expression turned awkward. The corners of its mouth twitched a few times, its expression as if this matter was very embarrassing to talk about. "Feng, do you want to be roasted alive or steamed?" Yin Zhao's voice was cold and emotionless. Anyone could tell that he was very displeased that Little Worm did not answer Yun Luofeng's question. Little Worm's face instantly paled. It had wanted to use a lie to bluff its way out of this, but after meeting Yun Zhao's cold gaze, it shivered all over. If it was someone else, it might still be able to lie, but the man in front of it had already formed a contract with it. Even if it told a single lie, he would be able to see through it. Many years ago, I knew this god-level expert, but we could only be considered acquaintances. However, Little Worm's expression turned even uglier. One time, I was lying on the ground taking an afternoon nap. That fellow didn't notice that I was taking an afternoon nap. By the time I was startled awake, I had already been covered by his filth. In a fit of anger, I enlarged my body and burrowed into his chrysanthemum flower. Yin Luofeng's fingers paused, and her expression became extremely ugly. She slowly breathed in, and only then did she suppress the urge to throw the little bug out. "Mistress, don't you think that fellow has gone too far?" Little Worm was very angry. "First, he used a pile of sh*t to bury me. I was just too angry and blew him up. Did he need to chase me all the way to my hometown?" Yin Luofeng glanced at Little Worm. "You should be glad that he only chased after you." Little Worm blinked and looked at Yin Luofeng in a daze. What did Mistress mean? She actually wanted to be glad that he was being chased after? Yin Luofeng's voice paused before she continued. "Luckily, he did not fall in love with you. Because of this, Little Worm was dumbfounded, as if he did not understand what Yin Luofeng meant. Suddenly, a large hand reached out from the side, picked up the little bug, and threw it out of the window. Yin Xiao forcefully grabbed onto Yin Luofeng's shoulder, forcing her to face him. Her cold black eyes were filled with grievance at this moment. He has taken up too much of her time. It was so long that he wanted nothing more than to slaughter this insect. For the first time, Yin Xiao regretted. He regretted bringing the little worm out. It was very obvious that although Yin Luofeng did not say it out loud, she actually liked this worm very much. This made Yin Xiao very jealous. Yin Luofeng smiled as she stared at the man in front of her. She then pushed Yin Xiao down onto the bed and pressed her arms tightly against the bed. "Yin Xiao, are you jealous of a spiritual beast?" Yin Luofeng narrowed his eyes, and a dangerous light flashed in his eyes. Feeling the softness in front of him, the man's lust rushed to his heart. He grabbed Yin Luofeng's arm and pressed her against the bed, kissing her lips forcefully. Yin Luofeng clutched the sheets on the bed tightly. The man's lips were very thin and cold, but they carried a domineering aura. 2 balls of lust could faintly be seen in his black eyes. Those flames seemed to be able to burn one's body with lust. All their clothes were taken off. On the large bed, there were only 2 bodies, entangled incessantly. It was an enchanting room. Chapter 1588. "Illy, get your ass out here right now." The next day, an angry shout rang through the entire palace. Illy was just getting dressed with the help of a palace maid when she saw a masked woman rush in from outside. Illy, who was initially shocked, relaxed when she heard the woman's voice. "Big sister, why have you come looking for me?" "Illy, how dare you help an outsider to attack the Panther clan? You've even injured father. Furthermore, my face must have been their doing." The eldest princess was so angry that her petite figure trembled. She pointed her slender finger angrily at Li and gritted her teeth hatefully, as if she wanted to tear the person in front of her into a million pieces. Li smiled. "Big sister, father had been injured by an external object. No one had done anything. As for you, who knows what kind of illness you've contracted? You're trying to frame us." The eldest princess's expression turned even uglier. Indeed, even though everyone knew that Yin Xiao was involved in this matter, who had seen him make a move, he had defeated father with just his aura? Was that even possible? "Illy, just you wait. I'll make you regret this." The eldest princess flung her sleeves fiercely and walked out. Illy stared at her departing figure and laughed icily. "Don't think that I don't know that my big sister was behind the incident when Li's face had been injured. Everyone knows that spiritual beasts are simple-minded and do not know how to scheme. This is because spiritual beasts have lived in the mountains for a long time and do not interact with humans. Hence, they have not learned how to scheme. The beast continent has now become a world of its own. How could the people who grew up in the beast continent be as simple-minded as the other spiritual beasts? Any pure species, once tainted, would no longer be as white as paper. In the rear courtyard, the eldest princess had just entered when a group of handsome men surrounded her from the front. Those men were like the emperor's concubines as they surrounded the eldest princess, waiting for her to dote on them. "Get lost." The eldest princess scoffed icily as she kicked the man in front of her and bellowed angrily. This man was rather handsome and had a pure heart and few desires. It was because of his looks that the eldest princess doted on him. Unfortunately, after seeing Yun Xiao, that kind of exquisite man, the eldest princess actually felt that the male concubines in her courtyard were no longer worthy of her eyes. Even looking at them made her feel disgusted. Since this man rejected me, I must have him. The first princess licked her lips, her eyes filled with greed. In the beast city, neither spiritual beasts nor humans could escape her charm. She was of noble status and peerless beauty. No man would be able to resist her allure. Only two people would dare to refuse her. The first one was Hu Li, and the second one was that cold man in black. The more she refused, the more she wanted it. Even if she had to use all means, she wouldn't hesitate. The first princess walked into the room and closed the door. She asked the guards to stand guard outside the door. She walked to the side of the bed and carefully took out a scroll from under the pillow. She picked up the scroll, walked to the candle, and slowly lit it. As the smoke slowly rose, it transformed into a blue dragon. This dragon's eyes were domineering and arrogant. He looked down at the eldest princess as if he was looking at an ant. It was as if no one was worthy of his attention in those blue eyes. "What business do you have with me?" Chapter 1589. The dragon's voice was very cold, looking down on the first princess. Lord Long, the eldest princess, was overjoyed as she hurriedly said, "It's like this. I've recently bumped into a few humans. Amongst them, the woman named Yun Luofeng has the fire spirit fruit that you're looking for." Speaking of the fate between the first princess and this dragon, it was something that happened many years ago. Back then, the young first princess went out to train and encountered a heavily injured dragon. In order to gain the friendship of the dragon clan, the first princess saved the dragon. Before the dragon left, it gave the first princess this scroll so that she could use it to summon it if she was in danger. Fire spirit fruit? Are you sure? Dragon's eyes lit up. The eldest princess' eyes flickered. Unfortunately, this fire spirit fruit was consumed by a woman. Humph. So if I take it, the fire spirit fruit isn't so easily digested. Wait till I find her, kill her, and cut open her heart to retrieve the fire spirit fruit. The dragon's voice was filled with disdain. However, my king has recently issued an order for all members of the dragon clan to search for the ancestor. Hence, I don't have a time to retrieve the fire spirit fruit. You'd better send that woman to the dragon clan. With that, the dragon's figure disappeared. The eldest princess was completely dumbfounded. He had used his only chance to save his life by burning the scroll, and this was the result? If she could deal with Yin Luofeng, why would she need to find him? As for this dragon not being able to find the fire spirit fruit in Yin Luofeng's body, it was no longer within the scope of her consideration. Her heart was already going crazy with jealousy. What right did this kind of woman have to have such a quality man? Even if she couldn't get this man, she wouldn't let Yin Luofeng take advantage of her. But now, how is she going to trick Yin Luofeng into joining the dragon clan? Looks like this method is useless. The eldest princess' eyes darkened. Now, the only way to deal with them is to seek help from other beasts. Thinking of this, she pushed open the door and walked out. Men, inform the fox tribe, eagle tribe, wolf tribe, and all the other tribes. Just tell them that a human has come to provoke us and injured my father, and we need their help. Yes, first princess. The guard cupped his fists and retreated under the azure sky. Yairi stared at Hu Li, who was standing in front of her. "Are you really leaving?" Hu Li nodded. "Princess Ili, take care." At this moment, Yin Luofeng and Yun Xiao walked out. Yin Luofeng glanced at the young girl who was staring longingly at Hu Li, and the corners of her lips gently curled up. "Hu Li, it's time for us to go." However, she did not say anything. Instead, she turned to Hu Li and slowly opened her mouth. "All right." Hu Li did not notice Princess Ili's strange behavior. He smiled seductively and wanted to walk over to Yun Luofeng's side. However, after meeting Yun Zhao's cold gaze, he tactfully retreated. The few of them quickly walked out of the arched door. Princess Ili watched Hu Li leave. She wanted to ask him to take her with him, but in the end, she couldn't say it. "Oh, right." Yun Luofeng suddenly stopped. She raised her hand and tossed a porcelain bottle to Princess Ili. The ointment inside can heal your scars. Remember to apply it once in a while. Princess Ellie was taken aback. She clenched the porcelain bottle in her hand and bit her lip. Thank you. When Yin Luo Feng and the others walked out of the palace doors, this news also reached the eldest princess' ears. She stood up abruptly. Chapter 1590. What did you say? Those humans have left? She clenched her fists. I never thought that they would leave just like that. But it doesn't matter. The beast continent is the territory of us spiritual beasts. They won't be able to escape. At the same time, in a cave in the Dragon Clan, the corners of the man in blue's lips curled into a small angle. His gentle gaze fell upon the woman who was lying on the ice bed. This woman's beauty could topple cities. Her red robes accentuated her domineering and flamboyant aura. However, at this moment, the woman in red was firmly imprisoned by the ice bed, unable to move. She could only stare fixedly at the man in blue, with eyes filled with rage. The rage in her eyes looked as if it could burn him into ashes. The man in blue stretched out his hand, wanting to caress the woman's face. Unexpectedly, the woman in red had a fiery temper and bit the man's finger. The man gasped in pain, but did not blame her. Instead, he stared at her with a gentle gaze. Hong Wan, why do you have to do this? Wouldn't it be nice to be my wife? Scram! The woman in red roared angrily. I feel disgusted just by looking at you. Hong Wan, do you know that I've found the whereabouts of the fire spirit fruit? As long as I have the fire spirit fruit, I can save you. Hearing this, the woman in red laughed icily as a mocking smile appeared on her face. Who had caused me to end up like this? Hong Wan, I had fallen in love with you and wanted you to bear my child. I never thought that this would happen. The man in blue furrowed his brows as his handsome face filled with remorse. Unfortunately, I don't like you. She still needed to raise her power and avenge Yin Luo Feng. She could never stay here and be the wife of a dragon. Obviously, Hong Wan was still unaware that Yin Luo Feng was still alive. Hong Wan, you must be my wife. I will make you bear my child, not a demi-beast human. Once a human and a spiritual beast have a union, the child born can only be a demi-beast human. Regardless of talent or lifespan, it would be greatly reduced. He would never allow his child to be a demi-beast human. If Hong Wan wanted to give birth to a complete dragon, there was only one method. However, that method was extremely dangerous. Otherwise, Hong Wan would not need to rely on this ice bed to survive. However, he really did not understand why Hong Wan would not accept such an outstanding dragon like him. Hong Wan clenched her fists tightly, but she felt weak all over her body. If my friend is still alive, she will definitely come and find me. If she comes, even if it means overturning your entire dragon clan, she will still take me away. If Yin Luo Feng was still alive, she would definitely come to save her. Hong Wan lowered her eyes slightly, concealing the heartbreak in her eyes. Now, whenever she thought of her old friend's death, she would still feel a heart-wrenching pain. Hong Wan. The blue-robed man could not help but laugh. Are you joking? Don't you know what kind of existence my dragon clan is? If your friend really dares to come to my dragon clan, he will definitely not be able to return. Hong Wan smiled coldly and closed her eyes, ignoring the man in front of her. Yin Luo Feng, if you were still alive, I believe that you would definitely come to save me. The blue-robed man looked at Hong Wan, and his eyes were filled with exasperation. He then turned towards a dragon clan guard behind him and said, Go to the Beast City and retrieve the fire spirit fruit. I don't really trust the Beast Clan's princess. Oh, that's right. The woman with the fire spirit fruit seems to be called Yin Luo Feng. Chapter 1591. Yin Luo Feng. Hong Wan's body trembled, but she quickly regained her composure. Impossible. This Yin Luo Feng was definitely not the Yin Luo Feng that she was familiar with. It was just a coincidence. Even though Hong Wan's heart was on the verge of bursting with hope, she still suppressed it deep in her heart. She was afraid that in the end, it would just be an empty joy. The Beast Continent. In the desolate mountain forest, few people could be seen, and not even a single spirit beast could be seen. Hence, at this moment, Yin Luo Feng still did not know that he had caused a stir in the beast continent. Human? A sneaky little head peeked out from the side of the forest and looked at Yin Luo Feng and the others in surprise. Are you humans new to the beast continent? Huang Yingying and Huli stood by Yin Luo Feng's side like guards and looked at the little boy with vigilance. Don't judge this little boy by his young age, for him to appear in such a place. How could he be an ordinary person? Who are you? Huang Yingying frowned and asked coldly. I am the same as you, a human. However, among the humans in the beast continent, the ugly ones are taken as slaves by the beasts, and the good-looking ones are taken by the beasts. My father is the same as you, and accidentally entered the beast continent. If he had not joined the alliance by luck, perhaps he would have been taken away by the beasts. Before coming to the beast continent, Yin Luo Feng already knew about the treatment of humans in the beast continent. Even though Huang Yingying had said that humans could not resist the temptation of handsome men and beautiful women, but there would always be humans who were unwilling to be enslaved by the beasts. Hence, the alliance that this little boy spoke of was probably created for this reason. Have you seen a girl in red called Hong Wan? Yin Luo Feng thought for a moment and asked. The little boy tilted his head, looking innocent and naive. She is not part of our alliance. If she was part of the alliance, there is no way he had not heard of her. How long has your alliance been established? Yin Luo Feng continued to ask. The little boy thought for a moment and said, about 2 years ago. 2 years ago, the humans of the beast continent were still in dire straits. It was a man who suddenly appeared and established this wind-chasing alliance that gathered the humans of the beast continent together. Wind-chasing alliance? Who is the leader of the alliance? Yin Luo Feng stroked his chin and frowned. The alliance doesn't have a leader. The person who established the alliance only called himself the deputy leader. He said that the leader hasn't appeared yet. This wind-chasing alliance was established for an old friend of his, the little boy explained patiently. Then the vice guild master's name? I'm not too sure about that. I only know that the vice alliance master's surname is Nangong. Nangong? Yin Luo Feng was startled, but she didn't think too much about this family name. After exchanging glances with Yun Xiao, he once again looked at the innocent and adorable little boy in front of him. Can you bring us to the alliance? All right. The boy smiled innocently, revealing 2 canine teeth. The vice guild leader isn't in the alliance right now, but the others in the alliance are easy to get along with. You could just come with me. Little fellow, Huli saw that the little boy wasn't much of a threat and walked in front of the boy in a very familiar manner. She raised an eyebrow and asked, Are you a half-beast human? Yes, my father had been forcefully taken over by a spiritual beast previously. In the end, he escaped, and when he escaped, he took me with him. The little boy turned to look at Huli and smiled brilliantly. I like humans very much. That's why I follow my father to this alliance. Chapter 1592. The little boy's smile was very innocent, as if he was a child who was not familiar with the ways of the world and could easily gain the trust of others. Not too far away, a house appeared in their line of sight. The house was surrounded by willow trees, their branches cascading down and covering the entire yard. When the little boy walked in, a few men and women who were drinking and chatting in the house noticed him and whistled at him. Xiao Yang, you're back? These are Uncle Tian Feng, Uncle Song Mu, and Xiao Shi. These guests are humans who entered the beast continent by mistake, so I brought them back. Xiao Yan's face lit up with a radiant smile. His smile was very comforting. His round little face was like an egg, white and tender. Oh! Tian Feng raised an eyebrow and stood up from his chair. He laughed heartily and walked towards Yin Luo Feng, saying heartily, Since you're all humans, I can represent the Deputy Alliance Leader to invite you to join the Alliance. Please state your names. My name is Yin Luo Feng. Yin Luo Feng shrugged his shoulders. This is my man, Yin Xiao. The other 2 are my subordinates, Huang Yingying and Huli. Tian Feng and the others' eyes lit up. The woman in front of them was dressed in clothes whiter than snow. Her beauty was enough to topple cities. Among the beast men, her looks were undefeatable. As for Yun Xiao beside her, even though he was handsome and cold, he was like a loyal dog, silently protecting the woman beside him, not saying a word. However, this man's aura was very strong, so strong that it made one's heart tremble. The main mission of the Wind-Chasing Alliance is to gather all the humans in the Beast Continent and fight against the spiritual beasts. You must have been chased by the spiritual beasts and escaped here. But it doesn't matter. Now that you've come to the Wind-Chasing Alliance, we won't let any spiritual beast bully you. Songmu vowed solemnly as he patted his chest. I've always wanted to ask you something. Huli raised an eyebrow. Since you're being chased by the spiritual beasts, why don't you leave the Beast Continent? Head towards the human territory? What was the purpose of them staying behind? Leave? Are you kidding me? Don't you know that the moment you leave the Beast Continent, the weaker ones will be killed by the people from the northern continent, and the stronger ones will be under their surveillance for the rest of their lives? If that's the case, why don't you just fight for your life in the Beast Continent? The one who said this was the only woman among the three. She had a cold smile on her face, but most of it was despair. Xiaoxi, Tianfeng frowned and swept his gaze across Xiaoxi before turning towards Yin Luofeng and speaking in a friendly tone. Not too long ago, I heard a piece of news. It is said that the Panther clan's king has been severely injured by someone, and that has angered the other clans in the Beast Continent. Hence, those clans have decided to join forces to kill the human who had attacked the Panther King. The human who injured the Panther King? Yun Luofeng shot a glance at the expressionless Yun Xiao beside her, before retracting her gaze. She helplessly shrugged her shoulders. Looks like such a huge incident had happened after they left the Bee City. Huli, who was at the side, was a little worried. No one knew what he was thinking. Yun Luofeng raised his eyebrows, a faint smile on his face. Are you worried about the little princess of the leopard race? She had hit the nail on the head, and Hu Li's face stiffened. A sense of awkwardness flashed across his face. She's the princess of the leopard race. Those people shouldn't have hurt her. Even though that was the case, Hu Li's heart did not hold much confidence. Chapter 1593. No one knows the eldest princess's personality better than he does. If she pushes all the blame on Ili may very well lose her life. This is something that he does not wish to see. If you're worried, I'll let Ying accompany you to fetch Princess Ili. Yin Luofeng raised his eyes. Right now, the goal of those beasts is to find me and Yin Xiao. Hence, she's not in any danger for now. If they wait any longer, that might not be the case. Yin Luofeng had allowed Huang Yingying to follow him because Huang Yingying has completed the inheritance and her powers have increased by leaps and bounds. Under normal circumstances, those beasts would not be able to stop her, all right. Huli immediately agreed. He does not have any feelings for Ili, but she was his savior. He could not abandon her no matter what. Miss Yin, where are your subordinates going? Matsumoto stared curiously at Huli and Huang Yingying as they walked out. His eyes were filled with shock. Yin Luofeng had transmitted her words directly into Huli and Huang Yingying's minds. Hence, these people had not heard her voice. She has always been very vigilant. Even if these people were humans, she would never let them know of her intentions. Nothing. Yin Luofeng did not intend to explain further. Even though Matsumoto and the others were filled with doubts, they did not probe further. Everyone has something that they're not willing to talk about. Isn't that so? The next day, a loud rumble echoed throughout the courtyard and frightened everyone so much that they jumped out of their beds. What's going on? Matsumoto was the first to rush out of his room. When he stepped out of his room, he was shocked to see a sky full of beasts. He was so frightened that he broke out in a cold sweat. What's going on? How did the spiritual beasts find this place so quickly? At the same time, the rest of the crowd also rushed out of their rooms. When they saw the ostentatious spiritual beasts, their expressions turned extremely ugly. Lord Matsumoto, could it be those people who had just arrived yesterday? They've brought the spiritual beasts. No one knew who had spoken in the crowd, but it caused the crowd to break into a flurry of discussion. That's right, it must be them. Besides, that woman's subordinates had suddenly left yesterday, so they must have reported our whereabouts to the spiritual beasts. Otherwise, how could the spiritual beast have found us so soon after they arrived? Everyone couldn't help but be suspicious. They had been hiding here for almost 2 years and had never been discovered by the spirit beasts. How did the spirit beasts find them the moment they arrived? Just as the crowd finished speaking, Yin Luofeng, dressed in white, pushed open the door. Her stunning figure appeared under the morning light. Yun Xiao stood silently by her side. Aside from the woman next to her, her cold and grim eyes could not contain anyone else. Lord Pinewood, I suggest that we kill this human and that kid, Xiao Yan, before the spiritual beasts destroy us. If he hadn't brought these humans back, this wouldn't have happened. We should kill her as well. In the crowd, the man who had slandered Yin Luofeng glanced at her with a cold gaze. His voice was very shrill. Xiao Yan's face paled. He was so frightened that he couldn't even speak. His eyes were filled with grief as he stared pitifully at Pinewood. Enough. Pinewood furrowed his brows. We don't have any evidence to prove that Lady Yun and the others had brought these spiritual beasts. It's best if you don't have any evidence. Chapter 1594. The man instantly fell silent. However, he still looked unconvinced as he glared fiercely at Yin Luofeng and Yun Xiao with his gloomy eyes. Yun Xiao glared at him icily. That glare seemed to carry a heavy sense of oppression. It was as if a huge rock was pressing down on his body, causing him to be unable to breathe and his face to turn pale. However, Yun Xiao quickly retracted her glare, and her expression was as cold as ever. Miss Yun, these spiritual beasts are very powerful. You just need to hide for a while. Leave these people to us. Tianfeng smiled. Just as he turned to look at the sky, his eyes turned as sharp as a sword, and he scoffed icily. So what if you found us? The Wind Chaser Alliance is destined to be irreconcilable enemies with you spiritual beasts. Kill. Pinewood raised his hand, and everyone in the Alliance drew their weapons. No one retreated. Roar. In the sky, a spiritual beast let out an angry roar and charged down from the sky like a fireball. It was so fast that no one could follow its movements. Pinewood hurriedly placed his broadsword across his chest. The spiritual beast's head slammed against the blade of the sword with a loud thud. At that moment, a large hole appeared in the blade of the sword, and Pinewood stumbled a few steps back. This won't do. The spiritual beasts that have arrived this time are too powerful. Logically speaking, why would the Beast Clan send out such powerful cultivators? Under normal circumstances, powerful cultivators would not be willing to personally take action and would send their subordinates to complete the task. However, the Beast Clan members who had arrived this time were all powerful cultivators from their clans. Why would they appear for the sake of the Windchaser Alliance? Could it be that there was a reason that they were unaware of? Watch out. Tianfeng turned around and saw a huge flaming lion appear behind Xiaoxi. His body flashed like lightning, and he charged towards Xiaoxi's back. He then raised his sword and blocked the flaming lion's fierce claws. Whoosh! The claws cut through Tianfeng's sword and tore his chest. Fresh blood flowed from his chest and dyed his green robes red. Cough, cough! Tianfeng coughed drily and spat out a mouthful of blood. His body staggered, and he almost lost his footing. At this moment, a feeling of despair surged into everyone's hearts. Tianfeng was undoubtedly the strongest existence within this group of people. However, even he was unable to face off against these powerful spiritual beasts. Wouldn't that mean that they were just waiting for death here? It's over. We're definitely finished this time. If the Vice Alliance Master was here, we might have the ability to deal with it. Everyone's faces were deathly pale. For the first time, they felt incomparable despair. Even so, none of them surrendered to the spirit beasts. Even if they were to die, they didn't want to lose their dignity. Sister, I'm sorry. Xiao Yan's eyes were filled with tears as she said apologetically. Back then, if I hadn't brought you back, you wouldn't have encountered such a thing. Boom! As soon as Xiao Yan finished speaking, a loud sound came from behind. When Matsuki and the others raised their heads, they saw a huge gorilla jumping behind Xiao Yan. It was waving its vajra like fist and smashing it at the little girl. Be careful! Pinewood shouted in panic, his voice filled with anxiety. Tian Feng and Xiao, she were the first to react as they quickly rushed towards Xiao. In the end, they were one step too late. Chapter 1595. The gorilla's fist was already smashing towards Xiaoyan's head. All it took was one hit for his brain to burst open and for him to die without a complete corpse. Boom. A huge force spread out from the gorilla's fist. Dust flew everywhere, causing everyone to cough incessantly. The eyes of Pinewood and the others were filled with despair before Xiaoyan's father left. They had all promised him that they would take good care of Xiaoyan. Who would have thought that in the end, Xiaoyan would still be in danger in front of them? Tian Feng, Pinewood, look. Xiaoxi's pupils suddenly shrank as she stared at the place where the dust had dispersed under the gorilla's iron arm, a fist that was several times smaller than his firmly blocked his iron arm. It was a strong man covered in wounds. However, no matter how strong he was still several times smaller than the gorilla. Hee hee. A tender laughter came from the treetop at the side. Immediately, a little girl with flames on her body jumped down. Her appearance startled the people of the Windchaser Alliance, who had already calmed down. This is also a spirit beast? This little girl looked very innocent. Her face was carved from jade and was extremely cute. If one ignored the powerful flames on her body, they would probably think that she was a child no different from Xiaoyan. Fire! Why do you always jump down from a tree every time you appear? A voice came from the ground, scaring everyone once again. Not long after, a milk-colored gold-seeking mouse drilled out of the ground. When it drilled out of the ground, countless gold-seeking mice drilled out of the ground one after another. Among those gold-seeking mice, there were two that were the most dazzling. One of them was a pink gold-seeking mouse, while the other had a crown on its head. Aren't you the same? We were clearly teleported out from the same place. Why do you choose to go underground every time? Fire curled his lips and said disdainfully, We are gold-seeking mice. Isn't it normal for us to drill into the ground? You're a fox. Why do you always climb trees? I like it, you can find it. Fire raised his chin and said arrogantly. The gorilla couldn't stand it any longer and interrupted, You should be from the Mouse Clan and the Fox Clan, right? Why are you so late? The hearts of the members of the Windchaser Alliance sank. Originally, these spirit beasts were already hard enough to deal with, but now there were so many more. Especially that little girl whose entire body was covered in flames. She was so powerful that no one dared to look at her directly. Although the gold-seeking rat was a low-level spirit beast, don't forget that it could speak the human language. Unfortunately, to their despair, the gold-seeking rat that had mocked the little girl just now had gradually turned into a handsome young man. The pink gold-seeking mouse and the mouse queen beside him also transformed into human forms. A gold-seeking rat that could speak and transform into a human was simply a fantasy story. Fox Clan? The little girl sneered. Why would I stay in such a lowly clan? Besides, I won't associate myself with beasts like you. Even if she had lost a tail, she was still very talented. How could she be a member of the Fox Clan who made a living by charming people? Because the gorilla's face was dark enough, no one could see the changes on his face clearly. However, everyone could feel the monstrous anger emanating from his body. Roar! He roared, his fists pounding on his chest, his eyes incomparably fierce. Since you are not one of us, then go to hell. Chapter 1596. Just as the gorilla was about to go around Yun-Yi to attack Hu Li, he was blocked by Yun-Yi. He became even more furious and punched Yun-Yi's chest fiercely. At the same time, the other spiritual beasts began to move again. Just as the spiritual beasts charged down, they were all blocked by Fire's wall of fire. Some of the spiritual beasts did not have time to restrain themselves in time and crashed into the wall of fire, causing them to cry out in pain. The members of the Windchaser Alliance were stunned. They looked at the little lowly in a fiery red dress in astonishment. They were so shocked that they could not speak. This spiritual beast is here to help us? Squeak, squeak. The spiritual beast that had charged into the crowd earlier had to face the groups of gold-seeking mice. With this wall of fire, no one can pass through here. Fire clapped his hands and turned to look at Yin Luofeng with a bright smile on his face. Master, this should be enough. The rest of the spiritual beasts were enough for Yun, Yi, and the gold-seeking mice. Master? In an instant, everyone's eyes fell on Yun Luophone. This spiritual beast was her pet? No wonder she dared to step into the beast continent. She actually had such a powerful trump card. Ha ha, you foolish humans. The gorilla laughed. Do you think you can subdue us beasts like this? How naive and laughable. The two most powerful clans of the Beast Clan have yet to appear. However, I've already received news that the experts of the Phoenix Clan are already on their way. The faces of the members of the Windchaser Alliance turned pale. The wall of fire blocked the groups of spiritual beasts outside, but they would also be trapped in this place. When the people of the Phoenix Clan arrive, it would be difficult for him to escape death. Humph! The gorilla snorted coldly and looked at Yun Luophone and Yun Xiao with a mocking gaze. These two humans have injured the Panther King. The Beast Clan will never let off anyone who dares to provoke us. What? Song Mu was shocked and turned to look at the two people beside him. His eyes were filled with shock. You were the ones who injured the Panther King? Yun Xiao was expressionless, and his expression was cold. His black eyes stared coldly at the gorilla in front of him. A murderous aura surged from his body once again, and his black robe danced wildly. Right at this moment, a phoenix cry resounded through the sky, scaring everyone so much that their bodies trembled and they almost fell to the ground. Phoenixes were of the fire attribute. Naturally, the entire sky was dyed fiery red, like a gorgeous sunset, dazzling to the eyes. However, at this moment, the sky was extremely majestic. Countless fiery red phoenixes flew over from a short distance away. As they flew past, they left behind bright red shadows in the void, as if there were flames burning the sky. These phoenixes were all beautiful and luxurious, covering the sky and covering the earth, giving off a strong sense of oppression. It was as if, in front of these huge phoenixes, they were so weak. Ha! Humans, do you see that? One of the strongest beastmen, the Phoenix tribe, has appeared. If you surrender and obediently become the beastmen's slaves, perhaps there will still be a glimmer of hope. The gorilla laughed heartily. Its laughter was full of sarcasm and mockery. It was obvious that to the spirit beasts, humans were only fit to be their slaves. Just like how the humans outside the beast continent enslaved spirit beasts, the phoenix once again let out a beautiful and resounding cry that shook the entire sky. Even howls of tigers and wolves could be heard from below, echoing the cry of the phoenix. Chapter 1597. We're done for. A look of despair appeared on Matsumoto's face, and the hope in his eyes also completely disappeared. The arrival of the phoenixes was equivalent to giving the wind-chasing alliance a death sentence. Lord Phoenixes, these humans are too cunning and shameless. Please lend us a hand. Hundreds of beasts cried out in unison. Some of the spiritual beasts even cried out for help at the phoenixes in the sky. Their eyes were filled with admiration and reverence. In comparison, the people of the Wind-Chasing Alliance had already collapsed to the ground as if they were quietly waiting for the god of death to descend upon them. In the sky, the leading phoenix was extremely huge, and its wings were burning with raging flames. The flames were fanned out by it, instantly igniting the weeds on the ground. A frightening feeling invaded everyone's hearts. At that moment, they finally understood how minuscule humans were in the face of the Beast Clan. Buzz! Suddenly, a deafening voice rang out. The leading phoenix had already broken through the clouds and swooped down towards the ground. The initially sturdy wall of fire instantly shattered under its powerful and mighty aura. It turned into wisps of flames and disappeared from the world. We welcome the return of our master. Thump! The leading phoenix landed on the ground, and its body gradually elongated into a handsome man with fiery red hair. He knelt in front of Yin Xiao with a respectful look on his face. We welcome the return of our master. The voices of the phoenixes echoed throughout the sky and caused a stir in the sky. The high-pitched voices did not fade away for a long time. At that moment, Everyone's expressions changed. The beast tribe's initial joy turned into astonishment, then from astonishment to fear. Their eyes were filled with dread. In comparison, the humans' initially pale faces were gradually filled with hope as they turned towards Yun Xiao and the cultivator from the Phoenix clan. Master? If they had heard it right, the cultivator from the Phoenix clan had called Yun Xiao master. How? How is this possible? How could a being as powerful as the Phoenix clan willingly follow a human as its master? Even though everyone had too many questions in their hearts, no one dared to voice them out. After all, the cultivators from the Phoenix clan were beings that no one could afford to offend. Yin Xiao, shouldn't you give me an explanation? Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows and looked at the man beside him with a faint smile. I've mentioned before that I've come to the 7 continents to scout for you. Moreover, I've also told you that my faction exists in the Beast continent. Yin Xiao paused for a moment before his eyes looked seriously at Yin Luofeng. The Phoenix clan is the clan that I've accepted in the Beast continent. Yin Luofeng's eyebrows twitched. But why didn't you say that you took in the Phoenix clan? Yin Zhao's expression was one of astonishment, confusion, and grievance. You didn't ask me. If Yin Luofeng asked him, he would definitely tell him everything. However, she did not ask him, so he did not tell her about the situation in the Beast continent. Yin Luofeng gritted his teeth. Wait until we get back tonight. I'll take care of you. I'll be waiting for you with the whip. Yin Xiao replied in a serious manner. The experts of the Phoenix clan felt as if their worldview had been shattered. The mistress claimed that she was going to teach the master a lesson, but the master actually said that he would prepare a whip and wait for her. Chapter 1598. They had never thought that their master would be a masochist. The corners of the Phoenix clan's lips twitched at the thought of this. As expected, powerful people all had their own quirks. Yin Zhao's cold eyes swept across the red-haired Phoenix clan powerhouse. He was so frightened that his entire body trembled. He quickly withdrew the smile on his face and became serious. What's the matter? The man's voice was as cold as usual. His paralyzed face was always expressionless. His dark eyes were so deep that one could not see their own figure in his pitch-black eyes. This was what they meant by being arrogant. But who asked him to have the right to look down on all living beings? Master, the elder sent me to invite you to the Phoenix clan. Yun Xiao said coldly. I'm not the Phoenix clan's master. He pulled Yin Luofeng into his arms and said coldly and domineeringly. The Phoenix clan's master is only her. Everything he had belonged to Yin Luofeng. Even if he had to do everything in the world, it was all for her. If it were not for Yin Luofeng, he would not have accepted the Phoenix clan. That was why he had given the Phoenix clan to her as a matter of course. The red-haired man was stunned and slightly hesitant. Yin Xiao, Yin Luofeng raised an eyebrow. If I want to establish an organization, I can do it with my own abilities. I don't need to get it from you. Yin Xiao lowered his gaze and stared at the woman in front of him. His dark eyes were so deep that no one knew what he was thinking. After a long while, his hoarse and magnetic voice slowly rang out. All right, his woman had always been so self-reliant. Shouldn't he be proud of her? The red-haired man sighed in relief. They acknowledged Yin Xiao not only because Yin Xiao had helped them, but also because of Yin Zhao's abilities. Now that this woman's abilities were still unknown, they did not want to submit to her. However, Yin Zhao's next sentence made his face turn pale with a swoosh. The Phoenix clan belongs to me. I belong to you. I am the Phoenix clan's master, and I am also your guard. When they first met, he had let go of his identity as a ghost emperor and willingly became her guard and stayed by her side. Even though their relationship had changed, the only thing that did not change was that he was willing to let her do everything. He was even willing to be her guard for life. The red-haired man's face turned pale, and his lips trembled slightly. Does master mean that he's willing to continue being the master of the Phoenix clan, but he's also the mistress's guard? In that case, wouldn't the status of the Phoenix clan be even lower? Lord Phoenix clan, the gorilla finally came back to his senses. He couldn't think straight for a moment, so he asked blankly, Are you mistaken? This guy is a human. Why would your Phoenix clan acknowledge a human as their master? Idiot! The red-haired man sneered and turned to look at the gorilla with anger in his eyes. Who gave you the courage to bully the master of the Phoenix clan? Lord Phoenix. He's just a lowly human. Hua. The red-haired man raised his hand, and a flame shot out from his palm. With a bang, the gorilla's huge body fell out, landing on all fours in a sorry state. You insulted the lowly master of my Phoenix clan. Isn't that the same as saying that my Phoenix clan is also lowly? This crime is unforgivable. Come, turn the gorilla race into the lowest race, deprive them of all rights, and send them to the barren land. Chapter 1599. The gorilla's eyes changed from the initial astonishment to despair. He stared blankly at the red-haired man's angry face. Divide the gorilla race into the lowest race? Deprive them of all rights? Banish them to the barren land? These words, like a heavy hammer, hit the gorilla's heart, making him beat his chest and cry regretfully. The sound of his cries spread throughout the mountain forest and did not disperse for a long time. Do you want to end up like the gorilla race? The red-haired man swept his eyes over the spirit beasts of the other races and asked in a lukewarm tone. Plop! The spirit beasts were so frightened that they collectively knelt down and kowtowed fiercely, fearing that they would really end up like the gorilla race. All the people of the wind-chasing alliance felt like they were in a fog. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. The spirit beasts, who had been acting tyrannically and shouting to kill just a moment ago, were now kneeling in front of them, especially the trembling appearance of those spirit beasts. TSK, it really vented their anger. Xiaoyan, a beautiful woman, quickly stepped out of the crowd of people and beasts. She crawled in front of Xiaoyan and pulled his sleeve tightly. Xiaoyan, I'm your mother. Plead for mercy on behalf of your mother. I don't want to be banished. Xiaoyan's body stiffened. He looked down at the beautiful woman who was kneeling on the ground and begging for mercy and bit his lips tightly. As long as I can remember, you've never given me a smile. Because my talent is not good, and I'm not as good as my brothers and sisters, you claim that I'm a burden. My father obviously did nothing wrong, but you often beat and kicked him just because he's a human being. You despise humans so much. Why do you want to take a human as your husband? That's why Dad escaped. I didn't want to see you leave with him. After that, the only thing I remember is the countless times you tried to kill us. Xiaoyan's expression was very painful, and his tone was a little agitated. Now, you've also brought a group of people to kill us. Why should I plead for you? I can't wait for you to die earlier and vent my father's anger. Xiaoyan, don't forget that you're a half-beastman. Your blood also flows with the blood of spirit beasts. The beautiful woman didn't expect Xiaoyan to be so heartless and said with an agitated expression, Xiaoyan harumphed. His voice was filled with hatred, unlike his previous innocent and innocent self. In that case, I'd rather be a complete human than have the blood of spirit beasts like you flowing through my veins. The beautiful woman was in despair. She let go of her hand, and her body went limp as she sat on the ground. Her beautiful face was pale, and her lips were trembling. Pinewood, do you remember me? I'm little Ching, Xiaoxi, come back. I'll treat you well in the future. Plead for me, Octopus, it was all my fault. Please save me. These spirit beasts basically had some sort of relationship with the people of the Wind-Chasing Alliance. Unfortunately, the memories between the two parties were too disgusting for the people of the Wind-Chasing Alliance. It was so disgusting that they didn't want to think about it anymore. However, the Wind-Chasing Alliance had become their only hope. They could only desperately grab onto this last life-saving straw and refuse to let go. Master, the red-haired man turned towards Yun Xiao and asked respectfully, how do you plan to deal with these audacious spiritual beasts? Yun Xiao did not speak. Her eyes turned towards Yun Luofeng. The red-haired man was enlightened when he saw Yun Xiao's actions. He hurriedly looked at Yun Luofeng and said, Mistress, please give the order. Chapter 1566, Death. Chapter 1600. Yun Luofeng stroked his chin with his fingers, his evil eyes filled with a dangerous light. The Beast Clan has a long history, and all the clans have treasures of heaven and earth. She paused for a moment, then continued, so, if you want us to let bygones be bygones, then I want to see their sincerity. There was no lack of intelligent spirit beasts in the Beast clan. Upon hearing Yun Luofeng's words, they immediately understood what she meant and hurriedly sent a clansman to bring the clan's treasures over. Compared to banishment, they would rather hand over the treasures. However, the spirit beasts of the Sword Pig clan were innately stupid. They simply did not understand the meaning behind Yun Luofeng's words and asked in a daze, "Sincerity? As long as we sincerely apologize, will you let us go?" Stupid. One of the experts from the werewolf clan smashed his fist on the Sword Pig's head. What she means is to use your clan's treasures in exchange for the safety of the entire clan. So that's how it is. The Sword Pig was suddenly enlightened, but his heart was filled with disdain. Humans were troublesome. Why didn't they clearly state their thoughts and waste their brain cells? Before those people come to protect the ransom, these people will stay here. Fire, suppress them. If anyone wants to escape, kill them without mercy. Yun Luofeng raised his hand and grabbed Yun Zhao's collar, smiling devilishly. "Yun Zhao, shouldn't we settle our debts in bed?" The corner of Yun Zhao's mouth curled up into a shallow arc as his magnetic voice slowly rang out. All right, towards her. He would never say a single no. In the spacious room, Yun Zhao silently took out a whip and slowly turned around. She held the back of her head with her hands, as if she was a person who had made a mistake and was being educated. Yun Luofeng was stunned. She took the whip that Yun Zhao handed over and asked, "What are you doing?" "I'm waiting for your lesson." Yun Zhao's eyes were very serious, so serious that Yun Luofeng's face darkened. Bang. Suddenly, Yun Luofeng rushed in front of Yun Zhao, pressed him down on the bed, and kissed the man's lips. "Yun Zhao, I'll tell you right now what my lesson is." In fact, Yun Luofeng was not angry at Yun Zhao at all. What's more, it was she who hadn't asked him. With Yun Zhao's personality, he wouldn't say anything if she didn't ask. Most importantly, from the beginning to the end, he had never thought of borrowing his power. She wasn't willing to become a woman behind a man. She wanted to fight alongside him and stand at the pinnacle of this continent. "Yun Zhao, after I find Hong Luan, I want to return to the Wuhui continent and hold a wedding." Yun Zhao stared at the woman who had pinned him down, and a smile gradually appeared in his deep black eyes. "Are you finally going to clear my name?" Yun Luofeng's face darkened. "Don't tell me you're really the same as the old man, thinking that I'm the kind of person who won't admit what I've done. It was just that I've been separated from you all this time, and when we finally met again, Hong Luan disappeared. Without these friends, how can I get married in peace?" Her voice paused for a moment before she continued to speak. "Hence, I've decided that after we find Hong Luan, we'll hold our wedding, all right? It's not just the wedding." Yun Zhao grabbed Yun Luofeng's arm and pressed her down on the bed. "Also, shouldn't we start making babies?" After saying this, he raised his hand and took off Yun Luofeng's clothes, letting them fall to the ground. The bed curtains were also pulled down. Through the white curtains, one could see the two people panting heavily on the bed. Chapter 1601. The next day, when the sunlight shone into the room, the two of them who were hugging each other on the bed opened their eyes. Yun Luofeng moved his sore shoulders and glared at Yun Zhao. "Next time, if you torture me like this again, get out of bed and sleep. I'll be gentler next time." Yun Zhao pulled Yun Luofeng into his arms as his lips curled into a faint smile. "It's getting late. Let's get ready to leave this place." Yun Luofeng stretched his legs and slowly got up from the bed. Creak! The room door was pushed open and a young lady slowly walked in. She said respectfully, "Master, mistress, Lady Feng Yu ordered me to serve you." This young lady was from the Phoenix clan, and the Lady Feng Yu she mentioned was the leader of the group of phoenixes. Yun Zhao frowned. "Get out. I don't need anyone to serve me." "Master, Lady Feng Yu ordered me to help Mistress dress." The young lady lowered her head and did not dare to look at Yun Zhao. The man's aura was too strong, so strong that it made her tremble in fear. Lady Feng Yu had long said that Master was hard to serve, but she did not expect him to be this hard. "No." Yun Zhao glanced at the young lady coldly and expressionlessly. "It's enough that she has me serving her." The young lady was stunned. She could not believe that the man in front of her was the master of the Phoenix clan. Was he going to serve Mistress personally? Not to mention the fact that men were superior to women. Even in the Phoenix clan, where the strong were respected, it was impossible for men to serve their women willingly. Master was indeed different from normal humans. Yes, the young lady cupped her fists and left. Yun Shao frowned, and his handsome face was filled with a cold and murderous aura. Looks like I need to teach the Phoenix clan the rules. He actually barged into the room without reporting. Yin Shao, it's already late in the morning. Shouldn't we get up? Wasn't that right? After being tormented by Yun Shao for an entire night, it was already late in the morning. All right. Yin Shao pursed his lips and smiled. He casually picked up the clothes on the floor, and his hoarse voice carried a rare gentleness. Let me help you dress. In the alliance, everyone had already gathered. After a long while, they finally saw the late Yin Luofeng and Yun Shao. Sister Yun. Xiaoyan giggled as she ran to Yun Luofeng's side. You and Big Brother Yin are really amazing. From now on, you're the benefactors of our Windchaser Alliance. Yin Luofeng smiled faintly. At this moment, she saw a cold gaze in the crowd. When she turned her head to look, he had already retracted his gaze, and there was an apologetic smile on his face. This man, it was the person who had claimed that it was Yun Luofeng who had attracted the spirit beast. At first, she thought it was just a misunderstanding, but now it seemed that this man was not simple. I want to leave this place temporarily. If Huang, Yingying, and Huli come back, tell them to wait for us in the Windchasing Alliance. Yin Luofeng paused for a moment. Also, I like to ask around. Have you seen a woman called Hongwan? Hongwan? In an instant, everyone looked at each other with surprise in their eyes. Yin Shao looked at the people in front of him before turning his gaze towards Yun Luofeng. Yesterday, I asked Feng Yu to interrogate those spiritual beasts, but none of them had seen Hongwan before. They had even never heard of this name. If Hongwan came to the Beast Continent, it would be impossible for her to be unknown. Chapter 1602. Why haven't these people seen her before? Miss Yin, Pinewood thought for a moment before he said, the Beast clan that has arrived includes most of the clans in the Beast Continent, including the Phoenix clan. If the person you're looking for is still nowhere to be found, I suggest that you make a trip to the Dragon Mountain. Dragon Mountain? That's right, the Dragon Mountain is inhabited by one of the strongest tribes in the Beast Continent, the Dragon Tribe. Yun Luofeng was silent. After a long while, she raised her head slightly and narrowed her eyes. If that's the case, let's go to the Dragon Clan. Mistress, Feng Yu had just entered when she heard Yin Luofeng's words. She quickly volunteered. Do you need the help of the Phoenix Clan? The Phoenix Clan and the Dragon Clan were the two strongest forces in the Beast Continent. Therefore, if the Phoenix Clan were to intervene, they would definitely be able to find Hongwan faster, but send someone to find Hongwan's whereabouts. Yun Shao and I will personally make a trip to the Dragon Clan. Let's not talk about whether the Dragon Clan had really captured Hongwan. However, if the Hongwan really fell into the hands of the Dragon Clan, if Hongwan was forced, it might bring danger to Hongwan. The urgent matter at hand was for him and Yun Shao to personally make a trip there. Besides that, I don't want anyone to know that I'm looking for Hongwan, and I don't want anyone to know about my relationship with the Phoenix Clan. Only then can I ensure Hongwan's safety. Yin Luofeng said in a low voice. Her tone was very serious as she quietly looked at the red-haired man in front of her. Yes, mistress. Feng Yu cupped her fists respectfully. Then, he immediately sent people to seal her mouth. There were many spiritual beasts here, so it was not easy to seal their mouths. Even so, with the threat of the Phoenix Clan, no one dared to resist. The vice leader is back. At this moment, a surprised voice came from outside the door. The people who had been sitting on the chairs stood up when they heard this. Their eyes were filled with excitement. Vice Guild Master is back. He really came back. In the courtyard hidden by the trees, the man in the brocade robe was stunned the moment he walked in. There were several phoenixes circling in the sky, and below these phoenixes, a few beast leaders were squatting on the ground with their hands on the back of their heads, not daring to move. He was a little confused, like a monk scratching his head. This what's going on? Vice Guild Master. Suddenly, those familiar figures quickly rushed out of the room and walked in front of him. Vice Guild Master, you're finally back. The man who was addressed as Deputy Alliance Leader stared blankly at his excited companions. He scratched the back of his head and asked, "Who can tell me what exactly is going on? Why were there so many spirit beasts here? And phoenixes? Those phoenixes actually didn't destroy you? Deputy Alliance Master, we've met our saviors this time. Originally, the wind-chasing alliance was going to suffer a crushing defeat. I didn't expect two saviors to appear. Even the Phoenix clan is their subordinate. It's because of them that we're saved. We don't have to worry about being surrounded by spirit beasts anymore." This person was very excited and vividly described the grand scene from yesterday. His face was full of worship and respect. The man blinked and looked up. When he saw the woman in white walking out, he was stunned on the spot. Yin Luofeng also stopped where he was. His pitch-black eyes stared deeply at the man in embroidered robes in front of him as the corners of his lips curled into an evil smile. Chapter 1603. Previously, when Little Yin said that this alliance was called the Wind-Chasing Alliance and that the Deputy Alliance Leader was surnamed Nangong, I had my suspicions. She paused and continued, "I didn't think it would really be you, Nangong. Long time no see, how have you been?" Wind-Chasing Alliance, Maple-Chasing Alliance. Why did she only dare to confirm this now? Nangong Yuni laughed out loud and quickly walked to Yin Luofeng's side. As usual, he wanted to reach out and hook his arm around her neck. His hand hadn't even reached Yin Luofeng when a strong and powerful hand had already stopped him. "Yin Luofeng, aren't you going to introduce me?" Nangong Yuni awkwardly retracted his hand, rubbed his nose, and asked. Yin Luofeng curled his lips. "My man, Yin Xiao. TSK. I chased after you for so long back then, but couldn't get my hands on you. I didn't think that there would be a man who could conquer you." Nangong Yuni didn't notice Yin Zhao's darkened expression at all and continued to speak. "You chased after me? Why didn't I know?" Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows and smiled. When Nangong Yuni met her at Huaxia University, he fearlessly confessed to her and even expressed that he wanted to pester her. After that, he was beaten by Yin Luofeng until he couldn't get out of bed for a few months. Because of this, the two of them became best friends. To be honest, when Nangong Yuni first met Yin Luofeng, he was only stunned and didn't really like her. After all, any man would be attracted to an outstanding and beautiful woman. Later, when he found out that there was no possibility between him and Yin Luofeng, he retracted all his thoughts and fell in love with the department beauty of Huaxia University. Now that he came to this strange world and met Oya who looked similar to the department beauty, his thoughts were rekindled. If Yin Luofeng hadn't helped him wake up, perhaps he wouldn't have his current achievements. Even so, in this lifetime, Yin Luofeng was the most important woman to him. It had nothing to do with love. It was only because she was his best friend that he would use his entire life to protect. "Yin Luofeng, you really are forgetful. Back then, I only confessed to you and you beat me until I couldn't get out of bed for a few months. Have you forgotten just like that?" Nangong Yuni's eyes were filled with resentment as he looked at Yin Luofeng like a resentful woman. Yin Zhao's expression grew darker and darker. He forcefully pulled Yin Luofeng into his embrace and said threateningly, "You're not strong enough. She likes strong people." Tisk, Nangong Yuni said with a smile that was not a smile. "Yin Luofeng, your man is a vinegar jar." Yin Xiao was expressionless. "In this world, she's the only one who can make me jealous." What he meant was, no matter what you say, I won't be jealous. I only trust her. Vice Alliance Master, you know each other? Pinewood and the others were dumbfounded as they asked blankly. Nangong Yuni's lips curved into a smile. "That's right. She's the Alliance Master I told you about." Boom! Like a bolt from the blue, everyone was stunned. Yin Luofeng was their leader? God, were they dreaming? If Yin Luofeng was the leader of the Alliance, wouldn't that mean that the Wind-Chasing Alliance would be on equal footing with the Phoenix clan? Thinking of this, everyone's faces turned red, and they excitedly looked at Yin Luofeng. Yin Luofeng was stunned. "I didn't agree to be the Alliance Master." Yin Luofeng, With our relationship, there's no difference between you being the Alliance Master and me being the Alliance Master. Furthermore, the wind-chasing alliance was established for you. You won't be so heartless as to reject me, right? Nangong Yuni looked at Yin Luofeng with a wronged expression, as if he was forcing her to accept the wind-chasing alliance. Chapter 1604. All right, if that's the case, then I'll accept it. Yin Luofeng shrugged. Also, how did you come to the Beast Continent and establish the wind-chasing alliance? Actually, it's a long story. Back then, after you left, I came across an opportunity. That opportunity caused my strength to change drastically. Coincidentally, the wormhole opened at that time, and I came to the Beast Continent. Unfortunately, this place is too complicated, and I've never been able to leave. Nangong Yuni recalled the past and sighed coldly. All right, Vice Alliance leader, didn't you say you were looking for someone? How is it? Did you find a person? Pinewood pondered for a moment before asking. Nangong Yuni was helpless. I didn't find her. I don't know where she went. Vice Alliance leader, tell us the name of the lady you're looking for. Maybe we can help you. In an instant, everyone in the alliance turned to look at Nangong Yuni. Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows and smiled. Nangong, looks like your trip to the Beast Continent wasn't just about the wind-chasing alliance. Nangong Yuni's expression was a little awkward. I still don't know her name. I just accidentally peeped at her bathing, and she chased me all the way. So you're a masochist? I couldn't tell before. Yin Luofeng gently stroked his chin, the smile in his eyes deepening. But you could describe the lady's appearance. I'll let the Phoenix clan help you find her. Hong Yi. Nangong Yuni raised his head and looked at Yin Luofeng. He said very seriously, she wears red clothes. She is very beautiful, very charming. Her hair is very long. It can be described as a waterfall. Yin Luofeng's face darkened. Red dress? Beautiful? Long hair? What was the difference between saying that and not saying it? Nangong Yuni was immersed in his memories, but her personality was more violent, and her temper was bigger. When she was chasing me, I accidentally touched her, and she was so angry that she almost chopped me into meat paste. Luckily, I ran fast, or else you wouldn't be able to see me, your brother again. Pinewood and the others were already dumbfounded. Touch someone's butt? That lady didn't kill you immediately. That was already very kind. Anything else? Yin Luofeng continued to ask. No, that's all I remember. Nangong Yuni shook his head and looked at Yin Luofeng with a pleading expression. Yin Luofeng, we've been brothers for so many years. Please help me. Yin Luofeng held his forehead and turned towards Yun Xiao with a troubled expression. What do you think? Yin Zhao's cold eyes swept towards Feng Yu, scaring Feng Yu so much that she nearly knelt down on the ground. She wanted to cry, but had no tears as she said, Master, Mistress, we will do our best to find him. This brother of the mistress must find his woman. Nangong Yuni hastily corrected him. Don't say she's my woman. If that crazy woman heard it, I'll definitely be killed by her. If you're so afraid of her, why are you still looking for her? Yin Luofeng asked with a faint smile. Nangong Yuni's face twitched, his face full of awkwardness. That crazy woman has been chasing after me for so long. I'm not used to her suddenly not chasing after me. In reality, according to that woman's personality, it was impossible for her to let him go just like that. So, Nangong Yuni suspected whether or not she had encountered danger, so he left the alliance to search for her. Chapter 1605. Nangong, I have someone I want to find, and you have someone you want to find as well. Why don't we travel together this time? All right, Nangong Yuni laughed. Besides, even if that crazy woman wants to kill me again, with you by my side, you'll be able to protect me no matter what. Unfortunately, he had spoken too early. When he had found that woman, he realized that Yin Luofeng would not help him at all. Beast City. In the deep and serene courtyard, a young girl dressed in a light yellow dress floated like a fairy. Her beauty was unimaginable. Her skin was like white cream, delicate and delicate, so perfect that it would make one jealous. The eldest princess had long gnashed her teeth in hatred. Her tightly clenched fists sank deep into her palms as she glared hatefully at the beautiful young girl with skin as white as snow. In this bee city, she was the most perfect person. Who would have thought that her little sister, who had long been disfigured, would one day recover her beauty? How could this not make her hate her? Elise seemed to have noticed the eldest princess who was hiding in the dark. She gently lowered her face, her long eyelashes leaving a reflection on her eyelids. It made one feel pity for her. Her expression was cold and arrogant, like an undefeated chrysanthemum, emitting a delicate fragrance everywhere. "Big sister, is there something you need from me?" Seeing that she had been discovered, the eldest princess scoffed coldly and stepped forward. She stared coldly at Eli. "Little sister, I'm here to tell you something. You've heard the rumors on the mainland recently. Many beastmen have gone to capture Hu Li and the others. Your lord's son-in-law has long been dismembered by the beastmen." Eli sneered. "If Hu Li had really died, then your expression wouldn't be so ugly. In my opinion, those beastmen must have failed, right?" "Ha!" The eldest princess laughed maniacally. Her smile was filled with anger and murderous intent. She had originally thought that Yin Luo Feng and the others would undoubtedly die this time. She never thought that those beastmen would actually fail. That's right, the beastmen have failed. However, I've received another piece of information. The first princess laughed coldly. "My little sister, perhaps you don't know the relationship between your prince consort and that human woman called Huang Yingying. Then I can tell you now." The eldest princess took a deep breath and said coldly, "The two of them have already secretly plotted against each other. The reason why Hu Li became the prince consort was to make use of you. So, you're the one who is truly pitiful." Yuri's heart tightened, and her hands clenched involuntarily. "Do you think I will believe you?" The first princess smiled contemptuously. "If Hu Li has you in his heart, why didn't he take you with him this time? Instead, he left you here? That's because he already has a wife. He's only with you to make use of you. Humans have always been sinister, but you trust them so much." Yairi's breathing was a bit rapid, and her face was slightly pale. She bit her lips and didn't make sound. "Hu Li already has a wife?" "No, impossible. He's never said that he has a wife." Seeing that her words had an effect, the eldest princess's eyes were filled with mockery. She slowly turned around and walked out of the courtyard. It was only after the eldest princess had left that Yairi's body staggered and almost fell to the ground. She laughed bitterly in her heart and said self-deprecatingly, "Hu Li has been using me from the beginning. I've been willing to be used by him in order to make him stay. Since that's the case, what else can I hope for?" Chapter 1606. Wasn't this a foregone conclusion? Then what else was she asking for? How could she hope for that man to turn around and look at her? Yairi gradually stood up from the ground. She lowered her eyes and clenched her fists. All of a sudden, she seemed to have figured it out and gradually raised her head. "From the first day I met Hu Li, I've been dreaming of becoming his wife. However, as long as I can stay by his side, no matter what my identity is, I have no regrets. Unless..." Ellie's eyes were filled with determination. "Unless he doesn't need me." With that, Eli slowly walked towards the courtyard. She had just walked to the entrance of the courtyard when she was blocked by several leopard clan cultivators. "Princess, the king is still unconscious. You cannot leave the leopard clan. Get out of my way." Yairi's expression turned cold. "I'm going to find Hu Li." "Princess, you can't be impulsive. The Panther clan can't do without you to preside over the overall situation. At the very least, you have to wait until the king wakes up." "Scram!" Eli shouted. In an instant, a powerful force slammed into the bodies of these experts, causing them to take a few steps back. Then, under the pleading and despairing gazes of the crowd, Yairi had already stepped over the threshold. Yes, if spirit beasts wanted to stay with humans forever, there was only one way. That was a contract that went deep into the soul. Even if humans reached the end of their lifespan, as long as there was a chance for reincarnation, she would always wait for him. He would have no regrets in this lifetime. In a luxurious and exquisite room, the first princess was lying on the chaise lounge. Her eyes lit up as she listened to her subordinate's report. That fool, Ely, really left the Panther clan? Her heart began to stir. Ely's talents surpassed hers, and she had regained her stunning beauty. The elders of the clan had long been partial to her. Unfortunately, this little fool was willing to leave the Panther clan for a man. Wasn't this the same as giving him a chance? Ely is a woman who never fights for anything. If I were her, I would do everything in my power to keep the man I love by my side. Only a fool like her would allow the man she loves to leave. The eldest princess laughed mockingly, clearly disdainful of Ely's actions. Furthermore, judging from the situation, Ely was planning to follow Hu for no apparent reason. She was the dignified princess of the Leopard clan. There are so many men in the world, so why did she have to love only one person? Roar! Just then, a dragon's roar rang out from the void, frightening the eldest princess so much that she fell off her chair and tumbled out the door. In the azure sky, a huge dragon was circling the entire void. His huge body blotted out the sky and blocked out the sun, causing the entire courtyard to become gloomy. Lord Dragon Race. The eldest princess looked at the huge dragon in the sky in surprise. A look of pleasant surprise flashed in her eyes. She had not expected the people of the Dragon Clan to arrive so quickly. Are you the one who leaked the news to our Dragon Clan? The giant dragon looked at the first princess coldly. Its voice was low and hoarse, but it contained a powerful force that struck directly at her heart. Yes, the first princess didn't deny her words. Unfortunately, that woman is no longer in my beast city. She joined the Wind-Chasing Alliance and joined forces with them to declare war against our beast clan. Wind-Chasing Alliance? The giant dragon snorted disdainfully. Is it just a group of lowly humans? If it weren't for the fact that our dragon clan has been rather busy lately, the Wind-Chasing Alliance would have long ceased to exist. Since that woman has joined the Wind-Chasing Alliance, there's no need for the alliance to remain. Chapter 16:07. A smile gradually appeared on the eldest princess's face, but disappeared in a flash. Her eyes shone with a smug light. However, the giant dragon looked down at the eldest princess arrogantly. I will leave my traces wherever I go. So, boom! A loud noise suddenly rang out. The giant dragon in the sky spat out a dragon's breath, instantly destroying the entire courtyard. Some of the weaker people were directly turned into ashes by the dragon's breath. The eldest princess was already scared out of her wits. She trembled, and her face was pale. At this moment, she finally understood exactly what kind of calamity she had brought upon herself. The giant dragon did not look at the eldest princess again. Its huge body disappeared into the void, revealing the azure sky. Although the giant dragon's body was huge, it was actually very agile. It was like a small snake and did not feel burdened by its body at all. The eldest princess swallowed hard and felt some regret. Was it right to implicate the Dragon Clan in this matter? Just then, a voice was heard from the door. Did that dragon just leave from the Leopard Clan's palace? The eldest princess was neither familiar nor unfamiliar with this voice, so she raised her head and looked at the two people walking in from outside the courtyard. It was a man and a woman. The man was like a demon, and his peach blossom eyes were full of charm. He was like a cunning fox. It was dangerous to be around such a person. The young girl standing next to the man was dressed in plain clothes. She was as agile as an oriole resting on a tree, crisp and moving. However, the young girl's eyes were cold, and her face was expressionless. Huli, the eldest princess, spat through gritted teeth when she saw the fox-like man. Huli raised her brows slightly. I'm here to look for Ely. I plan to take her away. A light flashed across the eldest princess's eyes when she heard this. She sneered and said, You're here to look for Ely? Humph. You've caused Ely's death, and you still dare to look for her? Caused Ely's death? Huli's face darkened. What do you mean by that? Explain yourself. The eldest princess's eyes were filled with intense hatred. I don't know how those friends of yours offended the Dragon Clan, but the Dragon Clan came to find trouble with them. In the end, the dragons failed to find your friend. Instead, they learned that Ely was related to you and killed her in a fit of rage. Boom! The eldest princess's words were like a bolt from the blue, causing Hu Li's mind to instantly explode and become blank. What did you say? Ellie is dead? This was impossible. The first princess must be deceiving him. If you don't believe me, you can ask the other members of the leopard clan. The eldest princess's eyes flashed as she spoke coldly. The hearts of the people of the leopard clan skipped a beat. They looked at each other and then turned to Hu Li. The eldest princess is right. The little princess has passed away. This leopard tribe guard's face was filled with sorrow. His eyes were filled with tears, and he almost cried out loud. The entire leopard tribe was filled with a sorrowful atmosphere, incomparably sorrowful. Hu Li took 2 steps back. His face was pale as he knocked his head fiercely. His handsome and devilishly handsome face was filled with deep pain. If I had taken her with me, maybe this wouldn't have happened. Ellie was dead. That young girl who had a bright smile despite her disfigured face was really dead. It's all your fault. If it weren't for you, Princess Ely wouldn't have left us. One of the leopard tribe powerhouses yelled angrily. You should pay for the princess's death with your life. Chapter 1608. He said leave, not death, but in the ears of others, what was the difference between leaving and death? I killed Ely. Hu Li's seductive eyes were filled with pain and confusion as he looked at the people in front of him. Where's Ely's body? I want to take her away. Body? Ely was not dead, so where did her body come from? The eldest princess sneered. Ely was turned into ashes by the dragon breath, so where did her body come from? If you really feel guilty, then you should go to the dragon clan to avenge Ely. Slandering the dragon clan? What a joke. In any case, she would never admit that she had said such things in the future. The powerhouses of the dragon clan would never believe Hu Li. As for the leopard clan, they did not want Ely to marry a human, so they helped her lie. Since everyone had a part in this, how could they betray her? Moreover, she was the leopard princess, so they would not dare to say it out loud. Wait. Huang Yingying saw the change in Hu Li's emotions and hurriedly pulled him back. She lowered her head and checked the messy yard. After a moment of silence, she said, It was indeed caused by the dragon breath. The eldest princess snorted. Do you think I would lie? Huang Yingying looked up at the eldest princess. As for whether Princess Ely died in the hands of the dragon clan, that remains to be seen. Why don't you come with us to avenge the dragon clan? At this moment, the eldest princess's expression changed completely. What do you mean by that? Too much anger and grief can lead people to believe it without question. Ely was the same. Hu Li was the same. On the contrary, Huang Yingying, who was watching from the sidelines, was very calm. You're saying that the dragons killed Ely, so we should at least find a witness. Please come with us. Huang Yingying smiled coldly. Everything that she had experienced over the years had made her no longer the innocent girl she used to be. She also understood that an innocent woman would not be able to follow Yin Luofeng for long. You stop right there. The eldest princess took 2 steps back in fear, but Huang Yingying grabbed her hand. Seeing this, the leopard guards quickly stepped forward to save the eldest princess. Ely glanced at the crowd coldly, her aura faintly seeping out. If any of you step forward, I will kill her. Sure enough, the guards didn't dare to move when they heard this. Of course, once she proves that Ely was killed by the dragon clan, we will release her. Huang Yingying retracted her gaze. Let's go. As soon as she finished speaking, she grabbed Ely's shirt and dragged her out of the door. Elder, what should we do now? A panther guard's face was filled with worry, his voice filled with anxiety. What can we do? The leopard clan elder's expression was very ugly. Since we are helping the first princess lie, it is equivalent to being in cahoots with her. Furthermore, I see that the first princess is very familiar with the experts of the dragon clan. The dragon clan will believe her, so there is no need to worry too much. But the king is still in a coma. The little princess has run away, and the eldest princess has been captured. What should we do next? Windchaser Alliance. Inside the tavern, everyone was drinking and chatting merrily. I didn't expect the battle between humans and spirit beasts to end so quickly. We don't have to hide anymore. Huh. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've had such a good drink. All these years, the Alliance has been in hiding. How could I still have the mood to drink? Today, I must drink to my heart's content. Chapter 1543. Chapter 1609. Pinewood's lips curled into a smile as he looked at his brothers who had gone through thick and thin with him. Indeed, ever since they had joined the Alliance, they had been living in hiding in order to prevent the spiritual beast from finding them. It was only now that they were able to drink without restraint. In the past, this was something they would never have dared to think about. They were afraid that their enemies would attack them after they were drunk, and they would not be able to defend themselves. Boom! Right at this moment, the entire ground trembled, startling everyone to the point that the wine in their cups spilled out and spilled onto the ground. What? What's going on? The crowd turned pale with fright. Logically speaking, all the leaders of the beast tribes were under the control of the Phoenix tribe. Who would dare to cause trouble? Come, let's go out and take a look. Pinewood's eyes darkened as he slowly walked out of the inn. However, when the others followed him out and saw the enormous dragon in the sky, they nearly fell to the ground. The dragon tribe, my God. How could we have forgotten about the dragon tribe? The dragon tribe and the Phoenix tribe are on equal footing in the beast continent. There's no need to fear the Phoenix tribe. The young man's face turned pale with fright. His legs were trembling, and he almost lost his balance. However, he forced himself to remain standing and refused to fall to the ground in front of the dragon tribe. Pinewood's eyes darkened as he asked, "Dragon tribe cultivator, may I know why you have come to the Windchaser Alliance?" The dragon scoffed coldly and spoke in an arrogant and disdainful tone. "You have no right to ask me anything." His arrogant voice infuriated the hot-blooded men of the Windchaser Alliance. "Master Pinewood, let's not waste our breath on this dragon. Let's fight it." Everyone could see that the dragon had ill intentions. At a time like this, why would they care about the difference in power? They would rather die standing than live on their knees. "You overestimate yourself." The dragon scoffed coldly. To the others, this sound was nothing out of the ordinary and would not cause any trouble. However, the man who had spoken spat out a mouthful of blood. His body swayed a few times before he fell to the ground. "Qinglin," Matsuki shouted and quickly stepped forward to catch the man's body that had fallen to the ground. His fingers hurriedly felt the man's pulse. "With my heart and liver shattered, there is no way to recover." Matsumoto's eyes were bloodshot. He slowly stood up from the ground, his voice trembling. "What have we humans done wrong? Why do the spirit beasts want to kill us?" Facing Pinewood's angry questioning, the dragon's deep voice was filled with disdain. "This is the beast continent, the world of us, spiritual beasts. In the other continents, don't you humans treat spiritual beasts the same way? Any powerful spirit beast would be fought over and killed. Besides, didn't you enter the beast continent to form a contract with a powerful spiritual beast?" Song Mu was speechless. Indeed, to humans, if they saw a powerful spirit beast, they would want to take it for themselves. It was the same for spirit beasts. Whenever they saw a good-looking human, they would fantasize about taking them in for their own use. If he didn't obey, he could only beat him until he did. In this world, the strong are respected. There is no difference between spiritual beasts and humans. The strong have the right to enslave the weak. The dragon spat out a white mist from its mouth as its domineering eyes stared down at the group of insignificant humans. It was as if it was looking down at a group of ants. "Now, all you need to do is hand over Yun Luo Feng, and I will leave a few descendants of the Windchaser Alliance." Chapter 1610. Pinewood scoffed. "The Alliance leader isn't in the Alliance. Even if she was, we wouldn't hand her over." "Umph." The giant dragon scoffed. "You refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. If you want to die, I'll grant your wish." Roar. The giant dragon's furious roar echoed through the sky. A dragon's breath tore through the void and attacked the group of humans on the ground. "Watch out." Xiaoxi shielded Xiaoyan with her body, shielding her from the crowd. Xiaoyan's body stiffened. He could feel a warm liquid slowly dripping onto his face. It was moist and carried the stench of blood. He slowly raised his head. At that moment, His heart trembled and tears almost rolled down his cheeks. Aunt Xiao, the woman in front of him was bleeding from her orifices. The bright red blood stimulated his nerves and made his body tense up. Get out of here. Tell the Alliance leader not to go to the Dragon Clan. You mustn't. Don't go to the Dragon Clan. Bang. Xiao Shi punched Xiao Yan's chest. Xiao Yan's body flew out, and he tried to grab Xiao Shi in a panic. However, he could only watch as his companions moved further and further away from him. The giant dragon glanced at Xiao Yan coldly, but did not chase after him. He scoffed coldly and expressionlessly said, "He's just a half-beast human boy. I'm not interested in killing him. It's better to let him go. That way, someone will inform Yin Luophone." Xiao Shi's body could no longer support itself the moment she sent Xiao Yin away. She collapsed to the ground with a loud thud. Blood seeped out from under her body and stained the ground red. Xiao Shi. Pinewood's eyes were about to split open. Flames of anger shot out from his eyes as he turned towards the giant dragon in the void. Even if we die here today, we will die without regrets. The Alliance leader and the others will definitely avenge us. Avenge? The giant dragon spoke in a condescending tone. A bunch of insignificant humans want to seek revenge on the Dragon Clan? The Phoenix Clan is our Alliance leader's subordinate. Do you think the Alliance leader has the ability to avenge us? Pinewood clenched his fists. Huh. The dragon laughed maniacally. No wonder you dare to look down on the Dragon Clan. It turns out that you have the backing of the Phoenix Clan. How dare those little birds provoke the Dragon Clan? If the Phoenix Clan really dares to come, I'll shoot one if one comes. If a pair comes, I'll shoot a pair. Even though the Dragon Clan and the Phoenix Clan were considered to be at the pinnacle of the Beast Continent, but you can imagine, how could the two of them, who were considered to be the strongest in the continent, admit that the other party's battle prowess was on par with theirs? The dragons looked down on the phoenixes, and so did the phoenixes. Lord Pinewood, let's fight this dragon to the death. If we are unfortunate enough to die here, then we will continue to be brothers in hell. That's right. In any case, everyone would die one day. What was the difference between dying earlier or later? We can even go to hell to scout for the Alliance Master and the Vice Alliance Master. Haha. Perhaps it was because they were too afraid that these people suddenly said such insolent words to hide the trembling in their hearts. Mother asterisk her. I've had enough of these days of hiding. I'll go first, and you guys can follow me. A burly man cursed as he charged towards the giant dragon. His eyes were filled with madness. Stop right there. Pinewood shouted anxiously. Unfortunately, it was too late. The burly man had only reached the giant dragon when his body was instantly engulfed by the dragon's breath. Pinewood's pupil shrank. Before he could retract his outstretched hand, he saw another comrade disappear before his eyes. Chapter 16:11. Damn it, let's fight it out with him. His companions could no longer endure the anger and fear in their hearts. We can't let our dead brothers die in vain. That's right. Even if we can't kill this dragon, we have to dig out its scales and use it as a sacrifice to our brothers' souls. Everyone recklessly rushed towards the dragon. Only the man who had slandered Yin Luophone sneaked away while no one was paying attention. At this moment, everyone's eyes were on the dragon. Thus, no one noticed his escape. Blood dyed the ground red. The people of the wind-chasing alliance were like heroic warriors. Even though they were facing the fear of death, they still did not retreat. They had enough of hiding. They might as well fight to the end. Even if they died, they would go to the Yellow Springs together and forge a new path. Dragon Clan. They arrived at a towering mountain peak. The terrain of this mountain peak was treacherous. Faintly, there was a strong sense of danger coming from the valley. Who dares to be so bold as to trespass into my Dragon Clan? A muffled sound came from within the valley. Not long after, a huge body rushed up and covered the entire sky. It's the Dragon Clan's mountain guardian dragon. Nangong Uni narrowed his eyes. Its strength is at the early stage of the Saint Monarch. The dragon in the sky heard Nangong Uni's voice and looked down at him. Its eyes were filled with arrogance and disdain. The deep voice was like a heavy hammer that ruthlessly smashed into the hearts of others. Humans? A group of insignificant people. Why have you come here? We're here to find someone. Yin Luofeng raised his head slightly. His evil eyes swept over the dragon in the sky. Our dragon clan doesn't have the person you're looking for. So, leave this place immediately. Otherwise, I won't let you leave Dragon Mountain. The dragon's voice was disdainful. It had not put Yin Luofeng in its eyes. In its opinion, it was already good enough for him to let her go. If she did not know what was good for her, then she could not blame him for being impolite. Oh, Yin Luofeng raised his eyebrows and smiled. Then I want to see how you're going to make me unable to leave Dragon Mountain. Oomph. The dragon's nostrils spewed out a white mist. Its eyes were filled with arrogance. I can fulfill your wish. Roar. A loud roar resounded through the sky. The dragon's mouth gradually widened, and a powerful force was contained within it. Soon after, a dragon's breath was spewed out. It was as if the sun had fallen from the sky and dyed the entire sky. Bang! The dragon breath smashed into the ground. With Yin Luofeng as the center, everything within 100 miles turned into ruins. The giant dragon smiled proudly. Under its dragon breath, those 3 humans had no chance of survival. But the next scene caused the huge dragon's pupils to suddenly tighten, and its expression suddenly changed. The dust settled. The man stretched his hand forward. His black robes fluttered without any wind. He was as cold as a god of death. A powerful aura lingered around his body, causing a hurricane to form around him. Just now, her dragon breath was blocked by this man with a single hand? Impossible. When did humans become so powerful? Perhaps because she was blown by the hurricane beside the man. Her white clothes fluttered in the wind, and her fine black hair was like a waterfall lightly brushing against the woman's cheek. It was so beautiful that people forgot to breathe. Whoosh. While the giant dragon was still in shock, the woman standing on the ground had already disappeared. Chapter 16:12. By the time he turned around, he realized that Yin Luofeng was already standing in front of him. The woman's eyes were filled with a sinister smile. The corners of her lips curled up into a smile, but for some reason, it gave off a creepy feeling. He had been the guardian divine dragon for so many years, but this was the first time he felt fear towards a human. Is your dragon race very powerful? The woman's lips curved up slightly as she asked with a smile. The giant dragon's voice wasn't as domineering as before, but it was still not to be outdone. That's right. Our dragon race has always been very powerful. Is that so? Yin Luofeng smiled evilly. If that's the case, I want to know if your dragon race is more powerful or if my water dragon is more powerful. What? The giant dragon's eyes widened in shock. A dragon race actually submitted to a human? But before the giant dragon could react, Yin Luofeng suddenly raised his hand, and a transparent figure gradually appeared in front of him. This was a blue dragon with domineering and fierce eyes. It was even more ferocious, as if the giant dragon in front of it was only its food. Roar! The water dragon's roar reverberated through the entire sky, causing the mountains to tremble for a long time. This water dragon is only a soul. Why is it so powerful? A trace of panic flashed across the giant dragon's eyes. Even if he felt that this water dragon was only a great sage, but he didn't know why, but the water dragon gave him a strong sense of oppression. One could imagine how powerful the water dragon must have been when it was alive. In the void, 2 giant dragons stood facing each other. The giant dragon couldn't suppress the fear in his heart in the end. He turned around and wanted to escape, but an angry roar came from behind him, scaring him so much that he trembled and almost fell. 4 spirit beasts. The suppression was extremely strong. The water dragon was very powerful when it was alive. Even though it was only a soul now, it could still make other dragons feel fear, especially when the guardian divine dragon was only a low-level great sage. Bang! When the giant dragon turned to escape, he accidentally bumped into a figure. He hurriedly stopped in his tracks and looked at the man who seemed to have appeared out of thin air. The man was dressed in blue robes, and his handsome face was gloomy. He looked coldly at the divine dragon that was fleeing in panic. What happened? Lord Dragon Roar. The mountain-guarding divine dragon was on the verge of tears. You're finally here. These humans said they were looking for someone in our dragon clan, and even sent a water dragon to threaten me. Oh, the blue-robed man stared coldly at the water dragon in front of Yin Luofeng. He laughed mockingly. A mere water dragon spirit can scare you to such an extent. Indeed, you can only be a guardian dragon forever. In fact, with the strength of the mountain guardian divine dragon, it was more than enough to become an elder. Unfortunately, this dragon was too timid and often ran away in the face of battle. In a fit of anger, the king demoted him to a mountain guardian divine dragon. I, Longin, never kill a nobody. So, tell me your name immediately. The blue-robed man raised his eyebrows slightly. His expression was condescending, and his tone was arrogant. The blue sword in his hand was pointed at Yin Luofeng, who was in the void. His arrogant eyes were mixed with disdain. Yin Xiao and Nangong Yuni had unknowingly arrived at Yin Luofeng's side. The two of them stood on her left and right, protecting her from any harm. Leave it to me, Yin Xiao said in a low voice. A little worm. I'll deal with him quickly. Chapter 16:13. You overestimate yourself. The blue-robed man's expression suddenly changed, and his gaze became even colder and arrogant. A mere human dares to provoke the dragon clan's dignity. Are you looking for death? Nangong Yuni was very displeased with the blue-robed man's attitude. He scoffed. Yin Luofeng, Yin Xiao, let me teach him a lesson first. If I don't beat him until he cries for his parents today, I will kneel down and call him father. Yin Luofeng? These three words suddenly fell into the blue-robed man's ears. His pupils suddenly constricted, and a murderous intent flashed across his eyes. He was just about to look for her. He didn't expect that she would actually deliver herself to his doorstep. It looked like even the heavens were helping him. You aren't fit to call out Yin Luofeng's name. Nangong Yuni slightly raised his chin, clearly not putting this dragon clan cultivator at his eyes. The blue-robed man didn't get angry. He laughed sinisterly. Yin Luofeng, hand over the fire spirit fruit. Fire spirit fruit? Yin Luofeng's brows furrowed slightly, and a cold light flickered in his eyes. I don't know what you're talking about. You still dare to play dumb at a time like this. The leopard clan's eldest princess has already told me that you have the fire spirit fruit in your hands. Hand it over right now. Maybe I can still spare your life on account of your sincerity. The blue-robed man extended his hand and ordered in a domineering manner. Yin Luofeng's eyes narrowed. He didn't expect that it was actually the leopard clan's eldest princess who was behind this. I don't have the fire spirit fruit. Yin Luofeng spread his hands. It's up to you whether you believe me or not. Compared to a cunning human, I'm more willing to believe in a spiritual beast. If you don't hand over the fire spirit fruit and cause me to be unable to save my beloved Hong Wan, I will make you die without a burial ground. Hong Wan. These two words fiercely crashed into Yin Luofeng's heart, causing it to tremble. It was also at this time that Yin Xiao decided to make a move. The moment before Yin Xiao made his move, Yin Luofeng quickly grabbed his hand, causing the aura on his body to be completely withdrawn at this moment. She took a deep breath and suppressed the surging emotions in her heart. She looked coldly at the blue-robed man. If you can tell me the cause and effect, perhaps I can save someone. What she said was to save them, not to hand over the fire spirit fruit. However, in the heart of the blue-robed man, it was clear that Yin Luofeng was unable to resist his threat and intended to hand over the fire spirit fruit. You're all going to be dead anyway, so what's the harm in telling you? The blue-robed man sneered. Hong Wan is the woman I love. Unfortunately, if the two of us get together, then the child she gives birth to will definitely be a half-beast human. His bloodline will not be pure, and it will definitely affect the child's talent. So, he smiled and said, when I heard that the frost fruit could solve this problem, I fed it to her. Who knew that the side effect of the ice frost fruit would be so severe? We need the fire spirit fruit to save her. Yin Luofeng clenched his fists tightly, the anger in his heart almost bursting out. With Hong Wan's personality, How could she stay in the dragon clan to raise her children when her own life and death were unknown? Talk about love? So, all these signs pointed to the fact that Hong Wuan was definitely being forced. However, in order to satisfy his own selfish desires, this dragon had actually forced Hong Wuan to consume the ice frost fruit. She would never let him off. No wonder so many people couldn't find Hong Wuan, so she had been captured by her dragon clan. Yin Luofeng smiled. This smile was extremely cold, and murderous intent burst forth from his pitch-black eyes. His domineering aura leaked outwards and was extremely demonic. Anyone who dares to harm her will be punished. Chapter 16:14. The blue-robed man was stunned for a moment before he regained his senses. His lips curled into a cold smile. You know Hong Wuan? His smile was filled with cold, killing intent. His aura also gushed out at this moment, turning into a hurricane that lingered in the air. No matter what, he would not let anyone take Hong Wuan away. Hong Wuan was his. In this lifetime, she could not leave him. Yin Xiao, don't interfere in this matter. Yin Luofeng raised her head slightly, her demonic eyes quietly staring at the blue-robed man in front of her. This dragon, I want to deal with it personally. Yin Xiao hesitated for a moment before nodding slightly. All right, he had said that if she wanted to fight with her own strength, then he... So what if he stood silently behind her to protect her? He had never thought that Yin Luofeng was a woman that needed to hide behind a man for protection. Instead, she would do everything she could to protect the safety of the people around her. Oomph. The blue-robed man snorted coldly. The smile on his lips was cold. That's right. Hong Wuan has been locked up by me. So what? She is my woman. She is destined to stay in the dragon clan and bear my children. Nangong Yuni stood behind Yin Luofeng and looked coldly at the blue-robed man who had provoked her. He clicked his tongue. This fellow is really not afraid of death. Yin Luofeng is the type of person that becomes stronger the more you provoke her. Yet, he still dared to say such words in front of her. Isn't this the same as thoroughly angering Yin Luofeng? Boom! Sure enough, a spiritual energy storm suddenly appeared above Yin Luofeng's head. This storm was very dangerous as it engulfed her entire body. The blue-robed man was a little surprised. Low-level Saint Monarch. This human girl was actually a low-level Saint Monarch. No wonder the divine mountain guardian dragon was intimidated by her. Unfortunately. So what if you were a low-level Saint Monarch? Our dragon clan's battle power far exceeds our own level. Otherwise, we would not have such a supreme position. The dragon clan had thick skin and strong flesh. Coupled with the power of a humanoid beast, under normal circumstances, a low-level Saint Monarch human would not be able to defeat a high-level Saint Venerable Dragon clan. The reason why the Mountain Guardian Divine Dragon was intimidated was because it had not obtained the human transformation fruit and could not transform into a human. Yun Luofeng stared coldly at the blue-robed man. Her demonic and lazy face was now covered in a layer of evil coldness. Her slightly narrowed eyes were filled with a biting chill. Did you force Hong Wuan to eat the frost fruit? Yin Luofeng's voice was evil, and his pitch-black eyes were filled with a cold light. You already know the answer. The dragon race was proud, and this pride would not allow him to bow his head in front of humans. If that was the case, how could he lie? Roar! The water dragon soul in front of Yin Luofeng let out an angry roar. Its body turned into a beam of water light that shot straight at the blue-robed man. The blue-robed man quickly retreated, his footsteps leaving deep marks in the void as he raised his hand to block the water dragon's attack. Bang! The water dragon slammed into his arm, and a cold feeling spread from his arm to his heart, causing his body to tremble. As a fellow water dragon, I can sense that this water dragon was very powerful when it was alive. Otherwise, it wouldn't have given me such a feeling. Unfortunately, he's already dead. The blue-robed man smiled disdainfully as he slowly walked towards Yun Luofeng. Swish, with a wave of his hand, a long sword formed from a water column appeared in his hand. Chapter 16:15. What threat does a dead dragon pose to me? The blue-robed man laughed coldly. He didn't seem to care about the water dragon's soul at all. More importantly, this water dragon's soul wasn't complete. It had been absorbed into Yun Luofeng's body, and because it couldn't be digested, it could appear in this form and fight for her. What if I add this to it? Yun Luofeng narrowed his eyes, and a dangerous glint flashed across his eyes. She slowly raised her hand with a loud bang. Endless flames emerged from Yun Luofeng's body and gathered in front of her, gradually forming a huge, ferocious beast. Roar! The beast retreated and let out an earth-shattering roar. Under this roar, even the mountains trembled. You can actually control water and fire, two opposing elements. The blue-robed man's expression changed. The water dragon and the flaming beast were actually in a state of balance in Yun Luofeng's body. However, have you forgotten that I'm also a water dragon? How come your flames suppress me? Ha ha ha. That might not be true. Yun Luofeng smiled, and her eyes shone with a demonic light. In that instant, the flaming beast and the water dragon charged at the blue-robed man one after the other. In the sky, the dragon's roar shook the heavens. The flaming beast also quickly rose, and powerful flames instantly attacked the blue-robed man. The blue-robed man's expression finally changed when he felt the huge pressure brought by the flaming beast. His eyes were filled with fear, and he didn't dare to take the attack lightly anymore. He pointed his finger, and instantly a sky-blue transparent barrier appeared in front of him. Boom! Flames filled the sky. The bright flames dyed the entire sky like a gorgeous sunset. It was extremely gorgeous. Cough, cough. The blue-robed man staggered a little and almost fell to the ground. He coughed twice, and his blue robe became ragged. His eyes changed from the initial fear to anger. The dignity of the Dragon Clan cannot be challenged. You are fated to not leave our Dragon Mountain. At this moment, a cold voice with a deep sense of oppression came from the front. What happened? In the end, this action still attracted the other experts of the Dragon Clan over. Your Majesty. When the blue-robed man turned around, he saw the white-robed man behind him in a few flashes. There was joy in his eyes. Your Majesty, this human is extremely audacious and has come to challenge the dignity of the Dragon Clan. Your Majesty, please order the elders to take action and capture him. Under normal circumstances, the Dragon King would not go personally. His body was getting weaker by the day, and he was only holding on with his last bit of willpower. Of course, only the members of the dragon tribe knew about this. The white-robed man placed his hands behind his back and frowned at Yun Luofeng and the others. He said indifferently, "You came to my dragon clan just to challenge the dignity of the dragon clan. I'm here to find someone." Yun Luofeng's evil eyes swept towards the man in white. "The dragon clan has captured my friend. I'm here to take her away. If the Dragon Clan refuses to release her, I'll have no choice but to force my way in." The white-robed man's brows furrowed tighter and tighter as he turned to look at Long Yin. "What's going on?" Long Yin raised his head arrogantly and looked at Yun Luofeng disdainfully. "These humans are here to snatch my wife. Of course, I won't allow them to snatch my wife away. Your Majesty, please seek justice for me." Chapter 16:16. The man in white muttered to himself for a moment. This woman could actually injure Long Yin, then these people's powers must not be ordinary. Their old ancestor had yet to appear, and the Dragon Clan was no longer the same as before. They could not afford to provoke any more enemies at this time. Hence, the man in white hesitated for a moment before saying, "Everyone, your friend has already become a member of my Dragon Clan. Please return and let bygones be bygones." "How about that?" "Your Majesty." Long Yin's heart suddenly trembled. "We can't let these people leave. This woman has a fire spirit fruit in her body. Only the fire spirit fruit can save Hong Wan." "That's right. Only with Yun Luofeng's death could Hong Wan survive." After saying this, Long Yin turned towards Yun Luofeng. "You said that Hong Wan is your friend, then I believe you're willing to sacrifice yourself for your friend. If you watch her die without saving her, what right do you have to snatch Hong Wan from my hands?" Yin Shao swept a cold glance at Long Yin and slightly raised his hand. With a loud bang, a force hit Long Yin's chest, causing his body to instantly fly out. Before the Dragon Clan elders could react, they saw Long Yin's fallen figure. Their expressions changed drastically as they stared angrily at Yin Xiao. "Human, how dare you be so impudent in front of us? Your Majesty, if we don't kill these people, how will our Dragon Clan have the face to stand in this world?" The man in white did not speak as he stared unblinkingly at Yun Xiao's sleeve. Was he seeing things? Just at the moment when Yun Xiao had attacked Long Yin, he had clearly seen a small worm hidden in this man's sleeve. Furthermore, why did that little worm look so much like his old ancestor? "Can you let me see what's in your sleeve?" The man in white did not give a reply to the Dragon Clan elders' pleas. He raised his head and looked at Yun Xiao anxiously. The Dragon Clan elders were all stunned, not understanding why His Majesty was interested in human sleeve. Could it be that this human man's sleeve was hiding some sort of treasure? Inside the sleeve, Little Worm curled up and cursed Yun Xiao in his heart. "Why didn't you use your other hand to attack Long Yin? That way, it wouldn't have been exposed." Little Worm's heart was filled with resentment. Even though it was the ancestor of the Dragon Clan, it didn't want to see these people, let alone return to the Dragon Clan. Yin Luofeng glanced at the Dragon King and then thought of what the Little Worm had said earlier. He had a vague answer in his heart. However, ever since the Little Worm heard that it was going to return to the Dragon Clan, it hid in Yun Xiao's sleeve. From this, one could tell that this little fellow did not want to return to the Dragon Clan. At the thought of this, Yin Luofeng pressed down on Yun Xiao's hand and raised his head to look at the walking Dragon King, his expression insolent. "Not only did the Dragon Clan capture my friend, but they are also so insincere. Why should I do as you wish?" "Your Majesty." Long Yin clutched his injured chest and crawled up from the ground. He glared at Yin Luofeng. "These humans are too presumptuous. Since that's the case, we'll just snatch the treasure." In the Dragon Clan, His Majesty's temper had always been not very good. Those who offended him would often meet a very tragic end. Therefore, of all the things that Yin Luofeng could do, he had to offend His Majesty. This time, His Majesty would definitely not let these humans leave. Seeing Yin Luofeng's attitude, His Majesty was even more certain that the person hiding in Yun Xiao's sleeve was the ancestor they had been searching for. Suddenly, he knelt on one knee on the ground. His voice was loud and his tone respectful. "I am a Dragon Clan king. I hereby respectfully invite the ancestor to appear." Chapter 16-17. The dragons were dumbfounded, their faces full of shock as they turned dumbly towards the man in white. Was His Majesty stupid? How could the elder ancestor be in a place like this? Just as the dragons were thinking nothing of it, a little worm that looked like a green crystal slowly crawled out from Yun Xiao's sleeve. Its movements were very slow, as if it was wriggling on the ground, as if it was unwilling but helpless. The man in white was overjoyed. He did not expect that he had guessed correctly. The little figure that he had caught a glimpse of earlier was his elder ancestor. However, the members of the Dragon Clan felt as if they had been struck by lightning. The moment the little worm appeared, they were instantly petrified. Was the elder ancestor really in this place? Were they dreaming? In contrast, Long Yin's expression was extremely ugly. He clenched his fists tightly, his entire body trembling uncontrollably. Why was the elder ancestor with this man? "Elder ancestor, you're finally willing to show yourself." The man in white was overjoyed. "We've been searching for you for far too many years." The little worm snorted coldly from its nostrils, its expression especially arrogant, looking down on everyone else. "I didn't want to return to the Dragon Clan. If it wasn't for the fact that all of you had knelt down and begged, I would never have shown myself." In reality, it had no choice but to not show itself. Who asked it to be discovered? All of this was because of Long Yin, this despicable dragon. "Elder ancestor, your willingness to show yourself is already a great gift to the Dragon Clan. As the king of the Dragon Clan, I beg you to return with us." The little worm's expression froze. Its originally transparent green body instantly flushed red. It was not known if it was ashamed or this. The little worm coughed dryly. You know what happened in the past? I had originally intended to lure that god-level cultivator away. Who knew that that god-level cultivator was so stupid that he could not find me and even destroyed the Dragon Clan? Even though no one in the Dragon Clan was injured or killed, their 1,000-year foundation was destroyed in a day. Countless treasures were also snatched by that miraculous cultivator. Even the previous Dragon King of the Dragon Clan was snatched away by that god-level cultivator to become his mount. This was the disgrace of the Dragon Clan for many years. It was also the reason why the little worm did not dare to return to the Dragon Clan. There were so many Beast Kings in the Beast Continent, but he was probably the only one who ran away from the battle. Ancestor, this isn't your fault. The white-robed man looked very agitated. Everything you've done has been for the sake of our Dragon Clan. Who would have thought that this god-level cultivator would be so stupid? You had clearly planned to lure him away, but he actually didn't fall for it. Little Worm was dumbfounded, his eyes glazed over. Was the Dragon King of the Dragon Clan stupid? How could he not see through such an obvious flaw back then? Ancestor, you are the pride of our Dragon Clan. You are also the greatest person in the history of our Dragon Clan. All of our Dragon Clan are proud of you. Little Worm was completely dumbfounded. It suddenly felt that it was not impossible for the people of the dragon race to be a little stupid at the thought of this. The awkwardness in the little worm's eyes faded. It cleared its throat and said in all seriousness, "That's right, this ancestor is just that great." Even though the plan went awry, everything this ancestor did was for the sake of the Dragon Clan. For all of you to remember this ancestor for so long, this ancestor is indeed proud. The corners of Yin Luofeng's mouth twitched. She knew very well that this little worm was afraid of death. In order not to fall into the hands of that god-level cultivator, it had fled the Dragon Clan. Chapter 16:18. However, from her mouth, her cowardly behavior from back then had become a noble act. These Dragon Clan members were indeed stupid beyond words. No wonder Long Yin trusted the Leopard Princess so much. Little Worm looked pleased. That's right, he was not a coward who ran away from battle. He was the hero of the Dragon Clan. Welcome back, Elder Ancestor. The man in white curled his lips. Once the Elder Ancestor returned, the Dragon Clan status would immediately surpass the Phoenix Clan and become the #1 in the Beast Continent. Wait! Little Worm suddenly stopped the man in white, then turned to look at the pale Long Yin. What did you say just now? You wanted to marry my mistress friend? You even wanted to kill my mistress and take away the fire spirit fruit? Cold sweat trickled down Long Yin's face. He opened his mouth, but couldn't say a word to defend himself. Wait a minute, mistress? The Elder Ancestor actually called this human woman mistress? The man in white opened his mouth in shock. Elder Ancestor, these two humans are not your slaves? He had always thought that these two humans were nothing more than the old ancestor's slaves. But, according to what the Elder Ancestor said, this cold man in black was actually his master. How was he able to subdue the Elder Ancestor? Idiot! Little Worm rolled his eyes. If he is not my master, why would I appear by his side? The man in white was speechless. What said seemed very reasonable. He could not refute it. Little Worm snorted and no longer looked at the man in white. Instead, he looked at the trembling Long Yin. I've been with Mistress for such a long time. Why have I never seen any fire spirit fruit? This was what the Leopard Princess told me. It's impossible. Suddenly, Long Yin came to his senses and widened his eyes in anger. Could it be that damned woman was lying to him? I want to see Hong Luan. Just at this moment, Yin Luofeng's evil voice sounded, causing the surrounding temperature to drop a few degrees. The man in white hurriedly glared at Long Yin. What are you waiting for? Bring this lady's friend here immediately. Long Yin's expression was ugly, his tightly clenched fists trembling slightly, but he clearly felt powerless. Yes, Your Majesty. No matter how Long Yin thought about it, he never imagined that Hong Luan would be related to the old ancestor. If he had known this earlier, perhaps he wouldn't have been so impulsive and paid the price that he couldn't recover from. However, Your Majesty, because of Hong Luan's body, she is unable to leave the ice bed. Therefore, We can only invite them to see Hong Wan. Hong Wan cannot appear. The man in white's face turned even uglier. He never thought that things would develop to this stage. Thinking of this, he glanced at the little worm carefully, afraid that the dragon's roar would provoke the elder ancestor. Then what are you waiting for? Hurry up and lead the way. In a snowy mountain cave, a woman in red lay quietly on an ice bed with her eyes gently closed. Her skin was snow-white like ice and snow, emitting waves of cold air. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps came from outside the door, causing her to open her eyes, and a cold light flashed in her eyes. What are you doing here? I've said it before, I'd rather die than become your wife. If you force me, I don't mind dying with you. Poochie. Suddenly, a soft laughter was transmitted over. Soon after, an extremely familiar voice entered his ears. Chapter 16:19. Hong Wan, it wasn't easy for me to find you. Do you want to die with me? Hong Wan's body froze. She clutched the corner of her clothes tightly. Disbelief flashed across her pale face, and anxiety appeared in her black eyes. It's her? No, she's already dead. How could she be here? I must be hearing things. What? We haven't seen each other for more than 3 years. You're not even willing to look at me? The familiar, yet demonic voice was so close to her ears. Hong Wan's heart could no longer contain her excitement. She turned her head slightly. In an instant, the woman in white stood quietly at the entrance of the cave, which was illuminated by ice and snow. Sunlight poured down from the sky, landing on her peerlessly beautiful face. Her white robes were whiter than snow. She was so beautiful that one would forget to breathe. Yin Luofeng, this name was too old. It was so old that Hong Wan's eyes turned red. It's really Hong Wan. I'm here to bring you back. Yin Luofeng slowly walked in. Her steps were very light. However, in a few steps, she arrived in front of Hong Wan's window. Her slender and fair fingers gently grabbed her arm. In an instant, a wave of spiritual power flowed from Yin Luofeng's palm and gathered in Hong Wan's body. After a long while, she let go of Hong Wan's hand. How do you feel? Much better. It's not that cold anymore. Although Hong Wan's condition was caused by the ice frost fruit, she had to stay on the ice bed if she wanted to keep her life. Her body, which was already extremely cold, became even colder after being frozen on the ice bed. But at this moment, she felt a warm current flow through her body. I've temporarily suppressed the cold in your body. I'll treat you later. Now, it's time for us to settle our debts. Yin Luofeng placed her hand in front of Hong Wan. Hong Wan grabbed her arm and stood up. Her charming yet determined eyes stared quietly at the woman in white who was standing in front of her. After a while, her lips curled. Yin Luofeng, you're still alive. That's great. Yes? She's still alive. That's great. At this moment, Hong Wan could no longer control her tears. This was the first time in more than 20 years that she had cried so bitterly in front of someone. When she was betrayed, she did not cry. When she was forced to marry, she did not cry. When Yin Luofeng died, she also did not cry. But now, after seeing Yin Luofeng, she could no longer hold back and vented the emotions that she had been holding for the past 3 years. Yin Luofeng stepped forward and gently hugged Hong Wan's shoulder. A murderous look flashed across his slightly lowered eyes. Hong Wan, you have suffered for the past 3 years. I will not allow anyone who has harmed you to get away scot-free. Hong Wan smiled. Her face was filled with tears. Apart from Long Yin, there was another bastard who injured me. Long, I don't know her. However, at that time, I had discovered a holy spring. After bathing in the holy spring, my power would rise. Hong Wan's eyes were filled with rage, and murderous intent flashed in her eyes. Who would have thought that 8B asterisk star would barge in by accident? Yin Luofeng was stunned. He did not know why, but he felt that Hong Wan's words were very familiar. He seemed to have heard them somewhere before. It's fine if he saw my body, but that bastard had a nosebleed. Hong Wan clenched her fists. The only weakness of the holy spring is that it cannot be tainted by blood. His nosebleed has tainted the holy spring and caused it to lose its effectiveness.